I know me, Will, and Dakota have been sitting here for at least 13, 14 minutes. It's all good. It's all good, man.
Oh man, you were early. That's a first.
I was here before Sean and Chris. That's how
That's
early I was.
actually a first, I think. I'm just fucking with you.
Well, all right, fellas. If we are thusly assembled, I imagine we should get this recap on real quick. You'll have to forgive me. I'm a little parched at the moment. All right. Recap. So, last session began with several Banderhobs, these large frog like humanoids touched by shadow, surrounding the party's camp as stealthily as possible before one takes a shot at Logos. Logos, posted up in a tree on watch, is narrowly missed by a tongue attack that splinters wood. This alerts the party and combat ensues. During the battle, a few more Banderhobs joined the fight from the darkness, accompanied eventually by an Annis hag with an apparent desire for elf blood. The Sands of Justice are eventually successful, slaying some Banderhobs and the hag as well. Packing up camp the following morning and heading farther down the road, the party is eventually greeted by the smells of smoked meats and some gentle music as they approach the elven settlement of Ledlitten. Finding the place agreeable, the Sands of Justice stopped for a bit of ale at the Green Dragon, a sort of open-air bar. Blade begins to play a bit of music, and the party sits down to relax, watch, and have a bit of dialogue with the locals. Before long, a crowd arrives, and with them a few bards that challenge Blade to what becomes later a high-stakes bard-off. These bards were woefully underprepared for the absolute stunning performance delivered by Blade, accepting defeat graciously, earning Blade and company a decent bit of immediate renown, a few drinks, and even some coin. The party continues to interact with a few locals, for better or worse, and they do a bit of information gathering as they watch Blade just lap up the crowd's attention. After a bit of time, Blade delivers an even more impressive and utterly stunning performance to the crowd's delight. After a few more ales and a lot more mingling, Logos heads to the Bent Bucket Inn and Tavern to acquire the party some rooms, and they follow along shortly. While Locus heads straight to bed, most of the party enjoys another beverage as the enamored crowd around Blade slowly dies down to a handful of young maidens, which he takes to his room after convincing all of them to join him. The rest of the party beds down for the evening, and it is the following morning as the rooster crows outside the Bent Bucket Inn, as dawn's rays reach out and cover all of Brightwood, and this is where we are now. So, you guys each awake in your own individual rooms. Let's start with Locris. Locris, you were first to bed, so what is your morning ritual? How do you go about this?
Well, I do my usual wake up, get my packed weapon set up, and now that he's becoming a better fighter, do some morning calisthenics, and then head downstairs to get some breakfast and wait for the others.
Okay, yeah. As you go and make your way downstairs, you hear a bit of giggling behind you, and you, unbeknownst to you, on your way down the stairs, you become like the leader of this conga line, kind of ish. But yeah, four women who look to be kind of rushed, but secretly like chatting amongst themselves, kind of blush in the face. None of their hair is particularly done. A couple of them actually have some of their belongings in their hands, like their shoes and a blouse, and they are kind of like slowly following you down to breakfast.
Just do the one eyebrow raise and just kind of keep on walking.
The as you kind of reach the bottom of the staircase, the smell of cooked meats and things definitely wafts by and arouses your attention. The the innkeep has almost set up sort of like a buffet style breakfast. There's just like a couple of trays with like some pastries and a bunch of like cooked meats like bacon and sausage links, and they're just kind of left out for the patrons to nab at. And as these ladies kind of put on their shoes and reaffirm their blouses and tie their hair up, they all make one quick pass through this thing, grab a couple of sausage links and a biscuit. Out the door they go, and a few other patrons slowly make their way down. You're not alone. A couple of humans and these guys look to be merchants, and an elf, kind of hurriedly comes down the stairs and surveys the scene, and then just kind of thinks better of it and just leaves rather than attends breakfast. I think we left off with Gladier and Logos having, like borderline, like the birds and the bees talks. So we'll skip to you guys. Gladier, what is like your morning ritual when you wake up after a night of drinking with your mates? You might be muted.
Oh, sorry. I'm the next one to arise.
Correct.
Yeah, I think Vader just kind of gets up and does his typical morning ritual of polishing his armor, making sure his weapons are all taken care of. He's very meticulous about his belongings, but once he gets that all sorted, I think he would kind of take a step out his door and then start to walk towards the stairs, but then kind of pause and remember uh, it's all flowing back to him, post partying memories coming back. He remembers that Blade was escorting many uh, maidens. So he'd probably sneak off, not sneak, but just kind of like walk nonchalantly down towards where his door is and just kind of like put his ear up to the door to see if he hears anything at Blade's room.
Give me a perception check.
Oh, that's a 10.
You do hear like a bit of like muffled talking briefly, but you can't quite make out the words.
All right. I think he'd probably just let it be and walk down to see what kind of breakfast spread they got going on.
You make your way down, and Locris is down there along with a handful of other patrons, and they've got a small spread of like sausage links and bacon, and then a few pastries and biscuits and whatnot. A small spread, and people are kind of, the more elvish types are kind of like daintily picking at it, but you notice a dwarf just comes and like takes like an armful of like sausage and another armful of biscuits, and doesn't even bother to get like a tray or a plate or anything. Just like flops down on the nearby bench and starts scarfing on it.
Glader follows suit. takes to the dwarves example and just grabs a bunch of meats and breads and finds a waves down the barkeep, get like a watered down breakfast beer, and has his breakfast. I'm sure he finds Locris too. I'm sure he sees him down there and sits down with the Locris to eat.
And then, I mean, Logos, I imagine you may have either stayed up later than everybody else, or perhaps, you're doing your own thing for like, what's your like morning rituals, considering you need like significantly less sleep?
I spend a majority of the night just listening to Blade. No. um, Logus probably for the most of the night, he does his meditation and then um, probably does some early morning stretches and then spend some time with Tony. If there's a window in his room, usually he would like to get a window in his room so she has the freedom to fly in and out. Spend a little time with her, feed her, try to teach her some new tricks. And in this particular morning, he would want to spend some more time with his automaton dog that I keep forgetting that I have. Um, and just try to figure out what exactly this thing is capable of. It's just if it's just like a standard dog or does it have some extra bells and whistles?
Go ahead and give me like a handle animal check as you kind of give this dog a once over.
It's a 17.
So as far as you could tell, it appears to be kind of like a normal Labrador dog. It looks like a lab, it acts like a lab, and as far as its capabilities go, you can teach this animal anything you could teach a regular dog. A handful of commands if you like: sit, stay, fetch, things like that. Attack, guard, whatever. Kind of you could get clever with some of your commands, really, but for the most part, aside from just kind of being a dog, the only remarkable thing about this automaton is that it does not need to eat, drink, nor sleep. It just kind of is always around, always awake and aware. It can imitate sleep, and sometimes it does. It does a lot of the things like you would expect a normal dog to do, but it is not required. It will also chew on bones and eat kibble, but not does not need to do these things. So aside from that, it's just kind of a standard dog.
Does it bark like a normal dog?
Oh yeah, it barks, it pants, it growls for sure.
Well, I guess with that handle animal check, would you allow me to try to begin to teach it to stand guard? Specifically like by the door while I'm sleeping, while I, need my rest. Since he doesn't need rest, I'd imagine Logus would want to spend some time trying to, teach it to, if it senses anything, to, kind of give it a little, um, as a little guard dog for Logus's room and even like when we get out to camp, stuff like that.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a handle animal check as you kind of try to impart this to your dogs. You have hours that you can burn in between when everybody else wakes up, so you have plenty of time to do this, especially with a dog that doesn't necessarily need sleep. So
That first roll was a 12.
you think the dog is catching on. You assume that it gets what you're talking about, but as far as giving the command and having it obey it, it's only like a 50-50 shot. Sometimes you give it the command and pretend meditate and open one eye and it's laying down facing another direction. Others it is standing a vigilant guard. So it's a process. It takes a bit, but you're at least laying the foundation for it. Whether it works currently or not, is up for debate.
Uh, it's okay, buddy. An animal's only as good as its master, and It's not your fault. I need to do better to teach you. And I'll like give it some scritches and play with it, scratch its belly. And then after a little bit, I will send Tony out the window. I'll tell her, hunt, stay near, look for us when we leave, let her do her thing outside, and me and I'm gonna call the dog Buddy. Me and Buddy will head down uh to join the others and kind of pass by Blade's room and give it a little knock and Blade, we are meeting down for breakfast. I don't know if you're awake yet. Just letting you know and go down, grab some food, and join the others.
Okay, we'll get to Blade here in just a second. Actually, Blade. So this rap tap tapping kind of comes to your door, and you hear Logos on the other side, and there is as you kind of stir, there is a couple of women still in your bed chambers, and they kind of greet you warmly as your eyes flicker open, and the as you come to, they the smile on their face, they greet you and whatnot. They say, "Well, Mr. Silverstring, it was a pleasure, but as you could see, we're actually courtesans, and by our count, you owe us about 30 gold pieces." And the two of them kind of look to each other and smile, and then they look back to Blade, and and the other human woman kind of proclaims, "And well, to be honest, we're looking to make it 40." And these two half naked women just kind of voraciously attack Blade in his bed. So before we get to Blade, let's go to Renwick. Renwick, tell me how your morning ritual begins after a night of drinking and celebrating with the fellas.
I dropped it in chat because I have to step away for a second, but basically he's just going to take his time getting up, kind of get all his gear situated and double check that everything's like topped off and good to go. And then he'll kneel down in front of or with the trident on the floor in front of him and just kind of focus on that connection he has to the Kraken. I think with everything that's happened recently, he's kind of opening himself up to the possibility of kind of attaching himself more intimately to this thing because he's starting to draw power from it. And that power has saved his ass a couple times now. So I think he's kind of exploring that. And then after that, he'll just make his way downstairs, grab breakfast.
Okay, yeah. After you do your morning ritual, you make your way downstairs to find most of your party down there, eating and drinking, and the barkeep kind of keeps refilling pitchers of both water and juice and ale or whatever you guys would like. So, Blade, getting to you. After a wild evening of not only like a stellar performance once and over again, and like a suddenly thrust into like you guys were kind of sort of famous on your way through, once you got through Hordenshire and did a couple of like serious deeds in the Alliance Islands, you guys were kind of sort of recognized. Like you've been like thrust into fame. Like everybody in this town knows who you are. Everybody wants to buy you a beer and chat you up. Like you've just kind of relished in it over the last 10, 12 hours or so, and you find yourself stirring proper as these scantily clad women put on some questionable lingerie as they actually go to leave your room. But they do each kind of hold out a hand, awaiting to be paid. As you may or may not have noticed, two of the 6 women you invited to your room were actually women of the house, so they're kind of awaiting payment.
So Blade will kind of roll out of bed a little bit and maybe get his foot caught on the sheets and just kind of trip out and like, oh God, I don't. Oh, I'm sorry. What are your names?
Cinnamon and sugar.
Oh, those are beautiful names and oh, wow, magical. And you said 40 gold for the both of you or each?
They look at each other and they keep it honest. 40 gold for the evening ought to suffice.
Oh, well, absolutely. I respect your trade and thank you for quite a memorable night. And yeah, and so Blade will he'll pull out just kind of just shuffled a little bit, just kind of reach back to his pack and pull out some coin for them, and here you go, and he'll tip an extra 20 on top, so 60 total for the fine ladies. Was it cinnamon and sugar?
Correct.
For yes, for both cinnamon and sugar. And says, and maybe if I'm in town next time, maybe you can cut me a little bit better of a rate. Maybe think of me next time. I'm gonna go get some breakfast and kind of like make his way through, eyeball and make sure maybe Archie's there as well. Have him be like, over here, and kind of have him crawl onto his shoulder at this blue crab and make his way downstairs.
Okay, as you kind of make your way downstairs, you give these ladies the cash, and their eyes go wide, especially at the tip. They're like, "Oh, awesome! Thank you," and they accompany you kind of downstairs. Go ahead and give me a perception check, Blade, as you make your way downstairs. These two ladies make their way down, and you see the barkeep kind of notice them coming down and kind of gives them a questionable look, and they were both kind of. A little bit red in the face, but they smile and kind of whisper to him. And you see the barkeep say, "Oh, good night, big tipper, huh?" And on their way by, one of the ladies snarkily says, "Oh, it was more than just a tip, let me tell you." Blade, with the 21, you would notice at some point your coin purse is about 150 platinum coins light.
Ooh. So as I guess Blade will kind of, as he notices this, he'll play it cool. He'll maybe go to the the kind of like the buffet, grab himself a plate and maybe a couple pieces of bacon. But he's going to keep his eyes on cinnamon and sugar there.
Yeah, so as you kind of go down and keep your eye on them, they kind of get a good reaction from the bartender, and they kind of show him the cash that you gave them, and he's like, "What?" His eyes go wide. And he's, "What?" And he kind of like fake reaches for it as they snatch it back, and they run by the buffet table and grab, just like a quick biscuit or something, and then they run actually back into what you can presume the kitchens are. Sugar and Cinnamon both kind of go behind the bar into this kitchen area into their like private quarters. So they kind of leave the area for the time being.
Can we retcon it that Glader had positioned his chair so that he was facing the stairs so we could see when Blade came down? And the moment he saw him walking down the stairs, he just stands up and just gives a loud, slow clap as he's walking down towards them.
Oh, thank you. He'll kind of rub in the back of his head. Yeah, it was quite a show, wasn't it?
The legend himself.
The
Seems like you had a good night.
yeah, the fingers worked pretty well on both the loot and the other activities. Anyways, but uh, yes, bacon.
You all right there? Seem a little flustered.
It was just I've he'll kind of walk up to Gladier and put his hand on his shoulder, lean into his ear, and just kind of be like, to be honest with you, friend, I've never I've never been with that many women before, and it's a little weird to it's just it's different.
Insight check.
Go ahead.
My insight is shit though. It's an 11. I'm sure I believe him.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you can't make heads or tails. You're not sure if you want to believe him or not.
I've also never been with that many women, so I would just assume that it's, you know, yeah. So I just kind of nod, just pat him on the shoulder. Let's go get you some bacon.
And maybe as he's kind of like walking to the table with Gladiator, he's got his arm around his back, and he'll kind of lean into his ear and be like, "Keep an eye on your coin. Mine seems a little lighter this morning. I don't know if it's the company that I've been with. It probably was. Shame on me, but we might have a couple of thieves on our."
Glader would hesitate for just a moment, kind of like falter in his step a little bit, but then just keep walking towards the table. Um, well, that is mildly concerning. How much are you down? Is it a, you know, poetry song that we can leave town as planned, or do we need to do a little investigating and try and get your money back?
Well, I mean, it's about a kind of lean into his ear again. 150 plat. It's. I mean, it's not nothing, but I mean, for a star like me, it's it's not the end of the world either.
I think like later, like visibly holds back like a I don't know, like a gasp or like a cough and groan all at once, and then keeps walking towards the table. I mean, I'm sure it's not that big of a tavern. We're probably at the table by now.
Yeah, as you guys all kind of reconvene at the table, with breakfast and beverages in hand. Still bright and early morning. What do you guys do from here?
Logus has a passive perception of 24. Uh, would he have overheard them, or would he have just seen them talking?
Who and where are you talking about? the ladies when they came down.
Yeah, Gladier and the conversation between Gladier and Blade.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty astute. If they're in the same room as you, and they're not trying to be stealthy, I imagine you can hear them just fine.
As soon as Blade comes up, Blade, don't mean to overhear, but this is quite small. Y'all are talking quite loud. But if you want to find your platinum, it'd be pretty easy. Just say so, and we can go get that back for you real quick.
I appreciate it. Let me have a word with these fine women that I've had a night with, and if they don't fess up to anything, maybe I'll go down that course. But it's all right for now, Locust. Thank you. I'll try to make them come out clean, if it's indeed them.
Okay, yeah.
So just to kind of play that in, I guess just before we leave at some point, Blade would at some point maybe just kind of um, try to make his way to like their quarters in the back. Not like in a creepy way. I mean, he'll kind of nod at the barkeep and be like, "Is this where Cinnamon and Sugar live in the kitchen, past the kitchen?"
He
Glitters.
kind of folds his arms and stares at you and looks around, but he realizes that they were just in your company. He's like, yeah, they're back there, probably freshening up. You want me to fetch them for you? Or you just want to go say hi?
Glitter definitely followed to kind
Okay, for sure.
of provide a imposing presence if needed.
Um, I guess. Um, I guess Blade will just make his way back to their quarters privately. He doesn't want to like um, try to out them in front of the group. If it again is indeed them, very well might not be.
Yeah, the barkeep lets you go by, but as he does, he like reaches out and grabs your shoulder and he's like, "Hey, friend, just so you know, if you're using our rooms, there's a by the hour charge, so be ready."
Thank you for your honesty and letting me know up front. I will and reimburse you greatly if needed.
Yeah, he lets you and Gladier go back, and you go down this kind of through this small kind of kitchen area. There's another like kind of long hall, and this long hallway on either side of it has kind of like looks like to be like personal dormitories. It's almost like a hallway in an apartment building, just kind of several different quarters in one long hall. They're clearly two of them are just wooden doors that are appear to be locked with like a padlock on the outside, and the other two doors, one reads sugar and one reads cinnamon, kind of like carved into the outside in these like fancy calligraphy type of letters.
Blade will kind of make his way over and uh, kind of tap on the door, each door if he could, and just kind of step back and maybe with his hands behind his back, just kind of waiting for them to approach if they do.
If you tap on both doors, one opens, one does not. Cinnamon opens the door, and she doesn't open it fully, just like a crack to look at you, and she kind of eyes you up and down, and she has like a sigh, like, well, you kind of gave us a run for our money already, but I mean, I guess, she kind of opens the door a little wider. What can I do for you, Blade?
Hey, Sean, will you allow me, while they're doing this, Logus would have wanted to cast locate object on Blade's platinum. Just one to make sure it was one of those two and the real culprit is not just taken off because it's within 1,000 feet. And two, so I know who's bullshitting.
So you cast locate object on Blade's platinum. Now it was the coins themselves that were stolen, not his coin pouch. So when you cast locate object on a platinum coin, your pockets light up, Renwick's pockets light up, Gladier's pockets light up, several of the patrons' pockets light up, the barkeep's pockets light up. There's a big hoard of it somewhere, like underneath the bar somewhere. It looks like the barkeep's got a stash. Like platinum coins are just aplenty.
I didn't think about that, but it's also cool to know that there's a lot of platinum in this bar.
So Blade, as Cinnamon answers the door and kind of looks at you, she looks ragged. Her makeup's very smeared, and she looks to have changed her gown. Looks like she is in the process of cleaning up. She kind of opens the door to let you in, and it's a very small quarters. She's got like a single desk that's covered in some like scented candles with several drawers on it, and then she's got like a wash basin and a bed next to that. Like aside from that, it's a pretty plain quarters.
Well, I'm sorry to disturb you, Cinnamon. And I had a wonderful night last night. It was wonderful. And speaking of run for the money, I'm appearing to be a little bit short on my coin purse this morning, and I'm not pinning it on either you or Sugar, but it's. I'm wondering if you saw someone or if you want to come clean, because I do have methods of finding out, and I want to give you both the benefit of the doubt.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check, Blade.
A 14.
Oh, with a 14, she looks you up and down kind of crossly, and she said, I have never, in all my years of being a lady of the night, had a client tip me and then come back to my room and ask for his tip back. That is beyond insulting. And she opens a drawer with a satchel of coins, and removes 20 gold coins and places it in your hand. She said, I cannot believe you. I thought you were one of these different people, Then here you are. You're actually literally worse than a high elf. I've never been this insulted. Get out of my room. That's the only refund you're getting. And she pushes you out and slams the door.
Can Glader attempt to catch the door before it slams shut? Like just put his hand up on it and stop it?
Yeah, you're quick enough and big enough. I imagine if you wanted to stop this door from being slammed, you could easily do so. She's not a very hearty or buff lady. Cinnamon's kind of a petite human female.
Yeah, so you just kind of stop the door like right when it's still cracked and just look at her kind of through the crack, or at least talk through it. Now, my friend here, he was not trying to get a refund on his tip. I'm assuming you earned that tip very well, and he was happy to pay it. What we're here for is a large sum of platinum, not a measly 20 gold pieces, platinum that was stolen from my friend here. So if you saw anything or did anything yourself to take this platinum, it'd be in your best interest to let us know.
I'll say you could give me a persuasion or intimidation check there, Gladier.
I think they might be the same. Oh no, my persuasion is much higher. Oh man, it's only an 11. Not rolling good tonight.
She calls out, Gus, I'm going to need a hand. And the bartender that kind of let you guys walk back beyond the kitchen and beyond into this hallway rounds the corner. And as he kind of sees you kind of holding the door open, he picks up a rather large meat cleaver from a butcher table on the in the kitchen. Hey, we're going to have some problems there, big guy.
Blade's going to turn that and look at him and be like, why don't you go back to bed and cast sleep on him?
Oh, shit. Okay. Roll me out some hit dice. How much hit points can you put to sleep?
So I'm going to cast it at third spell. So that is 5d8, 78, 98, I think, total. 2 for every level above first. So
hearing the commotion and stuff, Locris would have got up and walked back to see what was going on. But we can see if the sleep goes.
Okay. So as you cast the spell, Blade, this guy with the cleaver in his hand, he just he looks at you for a moment as if he's about to sneeze, and he just falls over backwards. Boom! Hits the floor in the kitchen and is snoring loudly.
I'd imagine seeing, the commotion, Logus would have followed Logris, to seeing what the fuss was about.
What the hell's going on?
Blade's going to turn his head one more time to Cinnamon and be like my friend said here, I'm not trying to collect my tip from you last night. You earned that, and that is yours. But there is a rather large sum of money that was taken from me, and I need to find it. I'm going to give you one last chance. Please be forward with me and tell me the truth.
Logus seeing the bartender asleep. Oh, are we doing this? I just so happen to find that he has a stash of platinum behind the bar, and then he'll kind of like get ready to see if we're robbing this joint.
God, that's so funny. So you do notice, like, as you guys are kind of back here causing a little bit of this commotion, some of the patrons are like curiously looking down the hall as well. But Blade, go ahead and give me you crit failed on your last persuasion check, so go ahead and give me an intimidation check.
Is there a point where I can like drag, what's his name, Gus? So he's not just laying in the hallway, so he's kind of like out of sight, so people don't look down and just see a body on the floor.
Gus is kind of a heavier set human man, so go ahead and give me a strength check to kind of drag the body a bit.
Locris, grab the legs. Come on, let's move this for Blade.
Do I look like the type to lift a body?
Look, got Blade here. Come on. I don't want to get run out of the city.
So as you go to move this body, Blade, with a 22, she kind of looks at you pretty scared, considering you have a hulking like dragonborn kind of holding the door open for you, and she steps back from the door and allows you to open the door. She opens the drawer where the pouch of coin was that you had seen previous. It's just a common leather pouch. It contains about 150 gold worth of coin. And she takes a slender kind of like knife from her boot, and she wedges a floorboard open. And you can see in this little kind of cubby in the floor, there are a bunch of gems and rubies and like pearls and things. And she kind of sets the knife down and puts her hands kind of up, palms facing you on either side, and steps back. And she says, "Look, I'm sorry. Don't hurt me. Just take whatever you want."
Logan showed a 3 on that strength check, so I'd imagine he threw his back out a little bit.
You're struggling. You like you got like an arm and then a leg, and then you think you're getting it, but really you just like managed to roll the guy over. You haven't really like got him out of the way.
I think Glader just sighs seeing this. Look, Cinnamon, is it? We're not trying to rob you. We're not trying to take what's yours. We're just trying to get what's his back. If you don't have it, that's fine. Tell us you don't have it, and then we'll be on our way. But we're not trying to take what's already yours. That's a mighty fine stash you have there, but that's not platinum pieces. So it seems like you don't have my friend's money.
What he says is true. I'm not here to rob you, and I'm just looking to maybe regain what I lost. We're not here to steal from you, Cinnamon.
Glader's gonna reach into his side satchel thing, pull out his coin purse, and pull out 5 gold pieces, 10 gold pieces, and just hold them in his palm and be like, "Look, like I said, we're just trying to find my friend's money. He lost a lot of money. If you have any information, actually, whether you have any information or not, this 10 gold is yours for your troubles. But if you can point us in the right direction, it would be greatly appreciated." And he just holds out his hand with the 10 gold.
You got robbed, Blade?
She snatches the 10 gold from you and then kind of takes still kind of a defensive position, and she kind of like flails her arms a bit at you to like shoo you away. She's like, I did not take it, and I do not know who did, and I do not appreciate these accusations. You come ask for your tip back after, and on top of that, you accuse me of being a thief. Like I would steal from the hand that feeds me. This is where I work. This is where I live.
Wait, Blade, you got robbed.
Yes, Locris, I was coming down the stairs this morning and noticed that my pouch was a little lighter than normal by a substantial amount. He's going to look at Cinnamon, not by 20 gold.
So, were you with one person last night? Or, because I saw a gaggle of women come down this morning. Were they all with you?
Last I remember, it was starts like counting on his fingers. 6, I believe. But honestly, I didn't even see the other 4 leave. I only came downstairs with Cinnamon here and Sugar, and he kind of looked at the door.
Well, I might not be the smartest man, but I'm going to imagine that because when those women came down, they were right behind me. A few stopped to eat, and one didn't and booked it. If I were to place it on somebody, it's going to be her.
Oh God! And kind of looking very embarrassed. Like, Cinnamon, I'm so sorry that we put you through this, and you had to see me put down the barkeep like that. I promise I didn't mean to stir up and cause trouble as much as I did, and I prefer to just leave on a good note, as good as possible. And he'll hand her over kind of another pouch, like a smaller pouch of his, and just kind of throw some gold in there, 100, and pass it off to Cinnamon. Be like, enjoy the rest of your day, and please let your barkeep know I'm sorry.
Okay, as you do this, go ahead and give me one more persuasion check as you guys kind of try to mend things up and part ways.
26.
She kind of feels the weight of the coin and kind of looks down at it. She smiles, says, "All right, Blade Silverstring. Now get out of my room, and I don't want nothing to do with any of the lot of you. Bugger off. Don't be coming back. I want to see none of you anymore."
Logus cast charm person. No, I'm just kidding.
no.
I can't just ask her to give me the birds and the bees talk. I'm just kidding.
She takes 20 minutes with a loving look in her eye and explains the birds and the bees to you, like as you sit on her knee. The birds and the bees from a hooker.
He said,
She was very gentle.
I can confirm.
Too funny. So, what is the duration on sleep? Does he have more than a minute?
Oh, good question. Sleep. Why can't I see it? 1 minute. Yep.
So yeah, with a loud groan, this bartender like starts to stir as he's kind of slowly coming to on the ground here in the kitchen.
If I'm there, Blade's gonna help him up. Maybe kick the cleaver out of the way, just so it's not right there. Be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, friend. You took a nasty fall. I was just talking to Cinnamon."
The fuck? He kind of gets up and looks around. All right. Well, this ain't like exactly a place. So if you're not doing business, this ain't a place for y'all to be hanging out. So if you ain't talking to the ladies, let's move along here.
Yeah, you got it, barkeep. And he'll hastily make his way.
The barkeep kind of just glares hard AF at Gladier, kind of questioning how he fell asleep.
Claytor's gonna walk out as well, but like right as he like exits the door, he's gonna look back at the barkeep and just give him a quick wink, and then just walk out.
He mouths the words, "What the?" So as you guys reconvene in the more tavern area of this bar, and the barkeep goes back to serving drinks, though he's kind of eyeing the party kind of suspiciously at this point. While he serves a couple of breakfast ales and renews a couple of things to this like breakfast buffet from the kitchen.
All right, are you guys done fucking around? Can we go? Do you want to hunt down this girl, Blade? I mean, it's a big town, but
It was a bit of coin, but it's nothing that I can't just remake. I'd rather us get to the task at hand.
Yeah, no offense, Play, but we got slightly more important things going on than some coin. If you need any help purchasing items in the future, we can all pitch in and help you get something that you might need if you're a little short. But I think we got a shadow realm to find.
The blade will just kind of, that's cute, and he'll pat Gladiator. Thank you. If I need any coin, I'll ask.
yes, if you need any coin, just ask Gladier.
Hold up, I said we would all, you guys. All right, so what's our first stop on this adventure founded mission?
I'll get back on the road and get to Sillerin. Should be getting close.
You gotta find those awful high elves that point us in the right direction.
Yeah, see if they have any information on the Underdark or anything like that.
All right, well, we still have. We took mounts here, right? Yes, we still have like all of our horses and shit. Correct? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, they're all stabled
Yeah.
here at the Bent Bucket Inn and Tavern.
All right. Well, is there anything we should stop and grab before we leave, or are we just heading out?
Well, I think everybody did what they needed to in town. Some people more so than they probably wished for.
All right. Starting the day's travel then. Uh, Glitter would just, I guess, go walk towards the stables and try and find his newly brought back to life Elkin John, celestial elk.
Okay, yeah. As you kind of make your way outside to go to the stable area, Gladier, you notice like one thing immediately. Like as you step outside, there are a couple of like really pompously dressed elves. They look to be wearing like pure white, and that has like a lot of like ruffled edges and like gold trim and things. And these like very like kind of gaudy dressed elves are both look to be wielding like what at first looks like a giant like weapon of some kind, but as you kind of your eyes adjust and you look, each of these elves seems to be holding like a giant white feather, and they are using it kind of like palm fronds, and they are blocking a third elf who stands between the two. They are blocking him from the sun, and the third elf is very elegantly dressed in like this kind of royal purple and blue attire. Everything's covered in like silver trim and buttons and pockets. And this elf looks to be clutching a couple of parchments and waiting directly outside this inn and tavern, waiting on someone, perhaps.
I think Glader will elbow Locris and Logus, and then kind of everyone just throwing bows around in everyone's ribs. Do you guys see this? What the hell is going on here?
Am I able to pick up what they are? Like, are they wearing a garment I would recognize, or is it something that's come up in the past few years?
As a someone that grew up in the realms, you would know that like different lords and ladies kind of have different colors and things to represent their house, but all of the houses essentially serve the royal family. From what you can tell, this is like the royal messenger of a lord or lady of the realm, and they are anxiously awaiting outside.
It's some royal assholes, brown noser. So they're not here for us.
I mean, as far as you know, we're kind of pulls on his cloak a little bit and adjusts his armor. We're mighty fine adventurers. They might be here for us.
No, they're the ones that they send with their little kisses and missives and all that. Not ones to come get seasoned warriors or anything like that. And definitely not cops. Well, if you're that curious, go say hi.
I mean, I am a bit curious. All right, anyone joining me, or is it just me, myself, and I?
You were my wingman. I'll be yours, and he'll join Gladier.
Yeah, I'm not going over there because that definitely won't go well.
All right, well.
Okay, so Gladier and Blade approach this messenger outside.
Yeah,
Renwick will go with them.
Blade. Oh, and Renwick.
And Renwick too.
Yeah, I think he's like, I mean, he got up this morning and he donned his like fine Sands of Justice garb and everything. So, and he typically is one of the people that kind of talks for the party because he's a bit of a smooth talker, especially when he's with Blade. So he's seeing the pompousness of what they're walking up to. He's going to put himself in front of the more gruff people in our party.
Okay, yeah, for sure. You guys kind of all three approach this kind of like messenger who's being shielded from the sun by these giant feathers with a couple of servants of his or some sort of position that's held in the elven community. And as you guys kind of leave the tavern, he looks up and kind of looks excited for a moment, and then he kind of looks past you guys and kind of scowls a bit, and then goes back to kind of looking at some parchments and watching the door, the main entrance of this tavern.
Yeah, I think Glitter kind of lead the charge, walking up with Renwick and Blade by his side. Just kind of give a good wave from a few paces away. Well, hi there. You folk looking for someone in particular?
He turns to you and he kind of just rolls his eyes. He's like, was it not obvious? I mean, he starts patting his pockets and he pulls out a gold piece and hands it to you. I don't have anything for you today. Go get in a couple ales on me or something. And he goes back to like looking past you. He kind of just nonchalantly, full blown blows you off.
And Glitter's gonna hold the gold piece in his hand and then just throw it down by his by the elf's feet. I'm not looking for your gold. I was looking to help you out in case you're looking for someone that we might have seen. We're a adventuring party ourselves, and we know some people and have a little station across these lands. So I was just trying to offer my assistance. But if you're too good for us, then I guess we'll take our business elsewhere.
He's kind of, offended a little bit at your dropping of the coin. His eyes roll. He's like, if you must know, I'm waiting for this bard. I was told Blade Silverstring. He's something different, but I haven't seen any elves come out of there all day.
Oh, it's Silverstring you're looking for. What exactly are you intending to talk to him about? I might know a guy that could put you in contact, but well, quite frankly, Blade's time is rather precious, and it's a bit of a vetting process if you're looking to meet him.
The elf kind of looks at you and says, you're very well spoke for a human child, but I feel like you're trying to shake me down. He pats his pockets again and produces another gold piece. I don't know. Here, this is for you. This is a lot of information I don't really have, man. I'm here to deliver a message.
If only your words were as freely as your clothing.
It's quite nice, don't you think? He does a little flourish.
Unlike your vocabulary. And he winks.
He cocks his head sideways and kind of stares at you for a moment, but goes back to kind of just watching the door. He lets out a long sigh and begins to fan his face with this a bit of parchment that he's holding.
Blade will kind of step up and say, I'm sorry, but if we do know of this Silverstring, but you said he was an elf.
Yes. They said a great elvish bard wrote a masterpiece. Was he's all the talk of the town. He's still quite the buzz, and I've got a message for him. You care to fetch him for me? I'll put a gold coin in for you as well. He starts patting his pockets again and produces yet another gold coin, which he gives to you.
Blade will kind of take it, bite it, and put it in his pocket. I mean, I do have a connection with this one and can talk to him, but it's in the best interest of him, of a celebrity, that I need to know that he's not in any danger.
Ah, it is always wise to keep a manservant around. He's not in any danger. I just simply would like to deliver a message to him and to make the official delivery of the correspondence proper. I need to see him receive it. It should exchange from my hand to his. So, go ahead, fetch your master for me. And he kind of shoos you about. Go on, hurry.
Blade is going to. So who's? I guess okay. So it's just Gladier, Renwick, and I, and Lokris and Logos are behind.
Yeah, they're, I imagine, watching from the interior of the tavern.
All right, I'll go fetch him. And if they're in the tavern, Blade will say, "Stay right here," and he'll make his way back to the tavern.
Oh, thank you, thank you. You're an excellent manservant.
And as he goes in to maybe see Logos and Lokris, he'll say, "This is a bit awkward, and I don't know if either of you can help me, but this gentleman is looking for a Blade Silverstring, and I don't know exactly what his intentions are. Do any of you have the ability to maybe disguise yourself?"
No, I lost that a while ago.
Ah, drat. I'm gonna look like a fool.
Just tell him who you are. Or I have one use of a zone of truth if you want to see if he can be forced to reveal anything.
So I looking through, I do have a disguise kit. Actually, I didn't think I actually had one.
That
Any
just
chance I can-
it's like going to Halloween Express and disguising yourself rather than a spell.
Blade just comes out with fake pointy ears and glasses with the giant nose attached.
Behold the
Proper
great silver
contours.
string. No, Blade. All right, he's gonna make his way out, back to the elf there, and he's gonna say, "All right, it's me. I'm Blade. You caught me."
No, be serious, manservant. That's a funny joke. But fetch your master for me, please. It's urgent. I've been standing here since dawn. It's kind of ridiculous. I hope he didn't leave already.
How about I fetch you my loot? And he's
I mean, if you insist.
all right.
Renwick
And
just spits on the ground as this guy is just being such a racist prick.
Such an unsavory child.
Blade, so he readies his loot and he looks at this elf and he says, "Tell me, what is it going to take to prove to you?"
He looks at you kind of cautiously. They said you were elvish, but a bit different. But I didn't assume that they meant one of the mortal races. There's a lot of human in your blood there, half elf. Are you sure I've got the right guy?
I'll let you be the judge. And Blade will take a big strum of his lute and just start playing an intricate melody.
Go ahead and give me a performance check.
Can I also cast Minor Illusion to make some kind of like visual effect coming out of his lute as he's playing to really try to sell this?
Yeah, give me a performance check with advantage there, Blade, as Renwick kind of aids your tale or your performance with a bit of arcane fuckery.
And Logos will also cast Druidcraft to um I can make like wind like scatter the leaves around him as he's starting to play. So it looks like the area around him is starting to react to him playing a little bit.
Blade's kind of like playing his lute and eyes closed, just like swaying in the wind.
As you kind of jam out on this lute and play a masterful melody, sliding around from riff to riff, you see that this elf is pretty impressed. The two elves at his side holding these like giant feathers are pretty impressed, and several people just kind of going about their day on this roadway all kind of stop and enjoy the melody for the time being. You get some waves and some thumbs up as your melody concludes. And the elf messengers kind of say, well, I apologize. You are quite the musician. That was improv. He looks to the other elf guy, and the other guy kind of nods. He looks back. I was like on the spot. That was very well done. I apologize. They told me you were elvish. I didn't realize that they meant half elven or of elven descent, but they were misguided in their descriptors. Forgive me. I have a summons, or rather an invite for you, Mr. Blade Silverstring. The Lord of Ledlitten invites you to his court. He would have a word if you have the time. He presents you with like a little. It's almost like a greeting card, but it's like from the Lord of Ledlitten, and it gives you basically it's like an invitation to join him at the royal hall.
Blade, after looking at this invitation, will kind of close it up carefully and look back at the elf and say, I'm going to have to discuss this with my party, as though I am a musician of great renown, I'm part of a team, and I need to figure out what exactly is in our best interest. And if so, if I were to join and go, I would also require a pass for my friends here.
Oh, absolutely. Your invitation is to Blade Silverstring and Company. Please, by all means, your fellow musicians, fellow talents, and or manservants, they're all invited. Even the giant lizard.
Hopefully everybody's as welcoming as you.
There is an age limit.
Eyes are going to roll back and go like black.
There is an age limit for the festivities at the Royal Hall, so keep an eye out. They won't tolerate children drinking.
Glader's gonna walk up to like one of the feather shade holders. Like, now this is a mighty fine, large feather. I've never seen anything quite like it. Do you mind if I take a closer look? Can I hold that for a second? I promise I won't. I'm just a lowly manservant. I'm not going to do anything to offend. I just want to get a closer look. Do you mind if I just hold it for just 1 second?
As you kind of ask, he looks to the messenger, who they kind of briefly make eye contact before he looks back to you and then back to the messenger, and he's like, and the messenger's like, well, Well, don't offend a member of one of Blade Silverstring's manservants. Give him the damn feather. And the guy relinquishes the feather to you.
I'm gonna look at the messenger and just glare at him, and then just drop the fucking feather on the ground. Just drop it straight to the ground, and then walk back to stand next to Blade.
It was pure white. Rude. We have to. You know how hard it is to have one of those cleaned. The guy like fetches it, picks it up.
And just give him a deep bow, and I am just so sorry. You know, my hands, my large lizard hands, are just so clumsy.
Yes, I am. I am sorry about that. I don't even know if he has thumbs. Gonna look at him. I'm sure he didn't mean that.
Oh, I don't
No
know about
problem.
you, but all this talking's really worked up a thirst. And Renwick grabs the decanter of endless water, and as he is about to place it to his lips, he just mutters "fountain" and tips it forward, and 5 gallons of water just rush out of it onto the messenger. And I'll just be like, "Oh, terribly sorry. Wrong word. I meant stream. I was sorry about that, bud."
With an 8 for a dex save, it just splashes all over him, and his once very like fluffy, froofy kind of clothing is now like soggy and drooping, and it was like such like a high quality of like white where it's like it's see-through in places now, and he looks down at you and like down at himself, like just shocked. He's like, "Oh, well, I have never." And he just storms off, and these 2 dudes kind of chase after him with their feathers.
And as he storms off, Renwick's just going to turn back to the party, but say loud enough so this guy can hear it, and just be like, once those clothes get wet, they don't leave much room for imagination. And it's funny because he was calling me the child, but based on appearance, he hasn't quite hit puberty yet.
He storms off in a huff.
Elitist prick. And Renwick will just spit on the ground and turn back to the party.
As you thrash this high elves' self-esteem, the party finds themselves just outside the Bent Bucket Tavern. So how do you guys proceed?
I guess as we kind of get back to the tavern, Blade, if like maybe we'd all like sit back down and grab a round, and Blade will pull out the note and say, so the messenger, he kind of updating Locris and Logos, messenger, he I guess has a summons for me to meet the Lord of Ledlin, and I don't know if I should accept. I know we've got a mission to go to find the Underdark, but I want to leave it up to you guys. You guys are my party, and it's up to us as a group to decide.
Well, the Lord of Fletwin could be the rich man that was working with the vampire homie. So I would have said maybe, but considering you just attacked his servants, I don't know if he would be quite as receiving now.
Now, we didn't attack him per se. We just
You embarrassed his messenger and the servants, and he's going to go back and make it sound even worse than what you did. So now you'll have a lord pissed off at you when you are finally in a kingdom where the head ups weren't trying to kill you.
I mean, by embarrassing his messenger, I mean, he could take it that you're embarrassing him. I mean, I see where Locris is coming from.
Locris, do you know where this? Have you heard of this lord before? Is he anywhere near where we need to be? Is his manor in the direction of can't remember the city's name where we're going. Something with an S.
It's north of South Central Compton.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know. Do I, Sean?
So what are you trying to glean? Anything about the Lord in particular, or are you trying to glean information about the city? Either way, it's a history check, but I need to know what you're looking for.
If I know anything about the Lord, like where his realm is from, maybe who he is, if whatever information I had.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and give me like a history check.
14.
With a 14, the elves seem to have, you know that like the royal family will kind of put the lords in place, like the Lord of Ledlitten and the Lord of Shraliton. They were likely placed there by the royal family, and after like a certain amount of time of the Lord governing the area, they are given the option to be either like promoted or perhaps retire, move on essentially. So the Lord of the city changes somewhere between every 100, maybe 200 years, and you are kind of unsure as to who the current Lord is at the moment, or even like when the last time the Lord changed hands, lordship changed hands or whatever.
So yeah, it's the local Lord, kind of a, I don't know, mayor type deal that rotates through. So I couldn't even tell you anything about him. I don't know if it's whoever was here previously. I never didn't spend much time in this town because I'm not a bard. I don't know if it's a new person, so wouldn't matter anyway. But they are friends with royalty.
I would say, even though their messenger was received with a little bit of uh, less than grace, um, I'm sure if we did go, we could give the story of the disrespect to my team.
Did we forget the last time we accepted an invitation from one of these so-called uh people who want to help, or these rich pricks that we were ambushed by vampires? I'm not so keen on accepting another random invitation.
Yeah, except this time we're ready for it, and as Loker said, this might be someone who's in working in tandem with our big bad guy. So we can take this on as a potential information finding mission, or I'm also on board with just trucking forward and going to Sillerin, trying to find the entrance to the Underdark. I mean, it's really up to the group, I guess. Should we
I
take a
hate to
vote?
say it. I hate to say it, but I think we need to go speak with him because if he does end up being the rich guy, he may have a way to get in contact or interact with the quartermaster, guildmaster, whatever the hell he wants to call himself.
Uh, as much as I'd hate to go find more of these elitist assholes, you have a pretty good point.
It's unfortunate that his messenger didn't.
I mean, I think it's safe to say at this point that maybe not every single person in a leadership position, but a majority of the people in leadership positions are probably going to be a little persuaded and have this vampire's hooks him at least somewhat. He seems to have his influence spread far and wide, so
We should certainly be wary. There's a good chance that you're right. They've probably got sleepers hidden in all aspects of governments and a variety of places. I mean, the shadow specialists are everywhere. So, I mean, they'd be able to spread pretty much like a plague.
Yeah. Well, Locris, I feel like we're kind of heading towards your neck of the woods, trying to find this Underdark, so we can, get you a more understanding of what you're going through. So maybe you make the tiebreaker here and decide which way we're heading.
Well, we are trying to get to Shadowfell so I can meet with somebody. But that'll also put us into interaction with Amorphous. So I say we go speak with this lord, set off whatever trap he wants to do, kill him. But when we go in, I am going to say I'm from Borsland, along with you, Renwick. That way, because if they see a tiefling like me walk in dressed up, they're going to think I stole, but it's better if I'm a foreigner, which is why I look different than the other tieflings in the area.
Well, that's smart. Oh, also, maybe after this party, if we're gonna burn the house down, I'm equally at fault at this. But let's learn from our mistake with the last party and check the property for innocence before we burn it to the ground. That still weighs heavily on my conscience.
All right, Lord Blade, lead the way.
This is embarrassing, but what direction could he be in? Right, the big fancy building, I'm assuming?
He's in the big manor.
Okay, I guess we just found the biggest house, right?
Yeah, so as you guys kind of make your way through this small village of Letlitten, the think of it almost like a bullseye. Like the outer area is more like kind of the slums, even though if you could call them slums, really, it's like they're all very clean. It was kind of where you guys were like drinking in the open air bar, but as you kind of get towards the center of this village, the buildings kind of change from like these like tiki huts and like straw thatch roofs and things to houses made proper, and they are made of like high quality goods. And then even further in from this kind of like neighborhood, this like ring of decent houses, farther in is this like several buildings of high elven architecture. They're like a 2-story building with a very A-frame like type of shape. They have like these of like a cone of like blue shingles covering the entire roof, and it's made from like really dark, rich sort of like rare woods. And the building in and of itself is just kind of a little gaudy, a little over the top in this like weird, fanciful, high elven architecture way. All of the borders of the doors are like carved and etched, and all the trim has a specific design on every window, and every corner is just so like. It's very, it's their way, it's very distinguishable as high elven architecture. And in this area, there's only like 3 or 4 buildings. One of them is Leadlitten Lounge. The other is the Royal Hall. And a third seems to be the a royal bathhouse. But the lord of the area would reside in the Royal Hall.
Gotcha. So are we do we have our mounts with us, or did we just hoof it literally?
That's your call, I suppose. You could leave them stabled at the tavern, or you can load them up and take them with you.
Yeah, I figured if we're close enough, we just leave them at the stable, and just make our way. I guess Blade will lead the charge going up to the main house there.
Glader's 100% trying to give these rich assholes a giant middle finger, and he's riding his like glittering golden celestial elk up to their manor.
All right, yeah. As you guys make your way towards the royal hall, it's got a large set of this grand, like, double doors. They look to be iron, but in this, there's like emblazoned and embroideries all over it, and including the borders and things. Like, it's a very fancy iron double door. And then as you guys, there are guards placed on balconies on the second floor of this building, as well as to the, several of them flank the entryway. And you do get some looks, but none of them speak to you or try to stop you or anything as you make your way into the royal hall. The interior of the royal hall turns, the floor you notice right in front of you is immediately like a polished marble. There's like a grand flowing staircase on either side of this room that goes up to the next level, and kind of in the center of this room, right kind of centered by these flowing staircases on either wall, there is like an elevated seat, like a position of power. It's very pompous, not quite like a throne, but like a very fancy plush armchair. And sitting upon it is a, sorry, give me a sec, my dog's going crazy. Sitting upon it is a pale elf with a very light powdered blue robe, and he has like piercing blue eyes. And as he notices you coming in, he sits up. He looks bored. He's kind of slacked for the time being. And when you guys enter, his eyes perk up. He sits up straight and he whispers something to an advisor, like standing nearby, who then trots off and carries whatever message, and it looks like the interior has like an upper floor. A lot of balconies kind of overlook this room as well, and these balconies are all fully armored, high elven guards kind of stand on them all. You're definitely being watched. But as you make your way into this grand hallway, and the clicking of your boots kind of echoes on this like tile floor, and approach this lord, he holds his hand out and says, "Ho, and who amongst you is the Blade Silverstring?"
It is I, and Blade will kind of step forward.
He eyes you up and down, and he's like, "Huh, I thought you were an elf, a full-blooded elf. Sorry, not that it matters, but interesting. You keep interesting company as well." He kind of looks around the room, and with a double clap of his hands, he says, "Everyone, go ahead and leave us. Leave us, please." Claps his hands a couple times, and the room clears the fuck out. Several servants nearby leave, closing the doors behind them, and even the guards on the upper level and standing near the door, they all vacate the room, leaving just you guys alone with this lord.
Well, it seems you've got pretty high security around here.
Decently so. I apologize for kind of crassness, but I'm sure you've been here long enough to know that it is kind of the common theme for my kind to put themselves on a pedestal, rather. I apologize, but this is the only way we can speak candidly. Part of being a leader is looking the part, I guess, and unfortunately, a majority of the population is not fond of the mortal races. I, however, don't mind rubbing elbows with them. He kind of steps down off of his like elevated kind of almost like throne type of area, and comes down to like inspect you proper. He walks right up to you and just kind of looks you up and down, as like inspecting your gear, and slowly kind of walks a circle around you. And like, so they tell me you are a masterful musician, and I tend to believe them, as I was just stepping out on the veranda late last night and caught a most compelling tale and tune upon the wind. So, I'm told that you're the one to blame for this. Are they right?
Well, it's I don't like to put myself on a pedestal like others, but you might have heard correctly.
Interesting. Well, so, Blade Silverstring, being the lord of these lands, I don't get many, well, let's just say many of the best bards amongst my people have no interest in coming to Ledlitten, as the crowd is not, is a bit too diverse for them, we'll say, which is unfortunate. Kind of robs me and, well, others of decent entertainment. And I was curious, after hearing of your prowess, if I may hire you for a time. Are you interested in a bit of a performance?
It depends. Are we talking right here at the hall, or what sort of commitment are we looking at?
I mean, it all depends on your preference, I suppose. We could build a podium outside and have a grand showing of it. But I can't say I wouldn't be a little bit flattered to get a more private performance in a place with acoustics such as this. He taps his foot and it echoes in this large room.
Blade will quickly just pull out his lute and with the mage hand and kind of bring it to himself and say, "Let me give you just a little preview." And he'll start playing this kind of haunting tune. Really, not many notes, but kind of slower, just so like the acoustics it really emphasizes the room in its acoustics, and be like, "Let me tell you of a story of a lord that was bored, that stayed on his pedestal, but could not." Blah 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 blah. I don't know. I can't rhyme anything with pedestal.
Put yourself in a corner there. But yeah, go ahead and give me a performance check. Damn. With a 31, as you kind of start your tale, he's like grinning ear to ear, and he slowly backs away. Like the farther away he gets, it's like almost the bigger his smile gets. And eventually, he is sitting comfortably, legs crossed on his chair, like just fucking enamored with your performance. He's grinning ear to ear as you just give him this, a bit of a ditty, this epic tale and these smooth riffs from your lute. He is enthralled for the time being, and as you kind of conclude, he just slow claps, and the clap echoes in the large room, and it's just the one, oh my, excellent, well, powerfully done. They did not do you justice. They told me you were amazing. They didn't say that you were utterly perfect. It was incredible.
Oh, thank you. You've got a beautiful room to be performing in. The acoustics do it wonderfully.
he kind of looks about and says, well, it might be a bit odd, but what do you say? I will entertain you and your party. I will give you some decent accommodations, as well as throw a bit of a. We could have a bit of a feast if you'd like. Put you up for the evening. You think that perhaps I could assemble a small group of family and friends and have you perform for us this evening? I'll make it worth your while. Luxury accommodations, as well as some high-end gourmet foods, and of course, doing something like this for a lord in the elven community comes with a hefty purse. And do you think my bards can attend and perhaps try to watch you a bit, see if maybe they can mimic some of this greatness? You might be muted, my friend, but yeah, ball's in your court.
Oh, I was definitely muted. Well, the offer is tempting. We've been invited to feast before and been less than compensated. Um, uh, really kind of burned us. What could be in it for us? I mean, sure, there's gold, but with a person like me and my talent, gold is going to follow me wherever I go. I need something that's going to be valuable.
Well, as far as value goes, I think, you do have some talent, and you're not wrong. The gold will follow you. Aside from maybe rubbing elbows with some aristocrats who, well, let's just be frank, most of the high elves don't think much of the mortal races, so it's, I don't know, consider it an opportunity to try to open some eyes, but it is, they've been shut for so long. I don't know if it's worth your time. But I could trade a bit of rumor, a bit of information. What is it that bards deal in aside from songs and tales? Tell me, Blade Silverstring, how could I, a lord of Brightwood, help you?
Well, you see, my friends here, we're not just a traveling band for my sake, but we are really here to help one another, and we are in need of information, valuable information that could potentially lead us to. And Blade is going to kind of turn back and look at Locris and kind of give him the elbow up, like, come up.
Locris will walk up with kind of a hoity-toity attitude going on.
Okay. He turns his attention to you.
Yes, we are trying to find a way to the Underdark, and I know that we've been told that elves tend to congregate together, and though they may not like each other from the various elven subraces, they at least know where each other are.
Yes, you're not wrong. I've got a bit of knowledge, I guess, that I'd be willing to trade. Is that what you're interested in?
At this time, yes, I do believe that that is our most vital need at this moment. It's why we are down in this country.
He kind of thoughtfully thinks it over. He kind of turns back to Blade and says, so, if I point you in the right direction, perhaps an evening performance, then? He kind of cocks an eyebrow at Blade.
If you can give us the information that we seek, then I'll give you the performance that you desire. So as long as I can have my trusty friend here, and he kind of, up from his back, you see Archie kind of crawl up onto his shoulder.
He kind of eyeballs Archie for a moment. He says, "Yes, well, done. The place that you seek is Macademolect Academy. It's less of a city and more of a compound, though several small villages have sprung up nearby it over time due to the Academy's influence. It's like several large manors in this gated community, and when upon inspection, it's like a compound dedicated to higher learning and the pursuit of knowledge. It's ran by a staff of powerful and wise spellcasters, but also fencers, scholars, explorers, and the like. Different learning options seem to be limitless there, should one find themselves actually attending the academy. But it is rumored that during the War of the Elves, 10,000 years ago, the biggest hole or easiest way to access the Underdark is supposedly within the Academy, or underneath it, rather. And it is one of the only routes to the Underdark large enough to march an army, several men abreast. And it is how the surface elves eventually dominated the drow in the Underdark. They traveled from Macademolect Academy to the, I forget the name, but it's just an underground city of drow, or was, before it was decimated for doing these evil, heinous deeds, as these creatures are so obsessed with their service to their goddess Loth that she's more of a demon than a goddess, and they kind of twisted and corrupted their purposes in life, and they only seek to cause pain and suffering. Well, it was a rather long ordeal, about 1,000-year war, but from what I know, the entrance is still under lock and key at the Academy. Problem about being able to go into the Underdark is that things can come out of the Underdark, and, well, it's like a whole nother realm down there. It's not a place for surface dwellers. There are almost everything is trying to kill you. The plants, the animals, the peoples, the water, the environment itself. It's just really not a great place to be. With that being said, do you think you could do 6 o'clock, Blade? He kind of turns to you.
6 o'clock, dinner time. I don't believe that should be a problem with us, and it'll just kind of be checking with everyone to be sure that that's right. Kind of nod.
Will there be some sort of room service? Maybe we can get some, I don't know, some snacks or a charcuterie board sent up to our rooms prior to the party. I mean, we've just it's been about 45 minutes since we had breakfast, so feeling feeling a little bit hungry here.
He kind of smiles and nods, and he grabs something from the side of his little chair, and it turns out to be a very small bell, and he rings it vigorously before putting it back. And a young, half-elfin maiden kind of runs into the room, and he turns to her and says, alas, these are now guests of mine. I would like you to put them up in some proper accommodations and see to their needs, fetch their riding horses and things from the other establishment. They'll be staying with us for at least an evening, and make preparations for a large dinner. Send the normal invites and things, and Aside from that, once you're done, show them to the rooms. I'm gonna get back to me as fast as you can. I've got a few more tasks for you. And she kind of nods and she's like, "Oh, okay, follow me, guys." And the Lord says, "I'll be here all morning and afternoon. If you need anything, just come to the main hall."
Could I have done a quick insight check to see if he's, I don't know, like his body language or his expressions are giving off anything like he's hiding something, or if he's like talking of his plans that like maybe he's, I don't know, got something more sinister in mind or
I
not exactly
will
as a whole
put in
truth.
on that insight too.
Okay, yeah. Both of you guys give me some insight checks.
I don't see shit. I got a 7. This is the best man I've ever met in my life.
Best friend.
He's giving me a charcuterie board.
I
I
got a
don't care what he
27.
With a 7, yeah, Gladiator, you're just kind of stoked that this guy's giving you free food. With a 27, Logos, you read him a little bit different. You read him a little bit. He as far as you can tell, since you've come to Brightwood, this is the first high elf to actually talk to you guys, to actually show you guys some respect, to not be like condescending and rude like right off the bat. He's the first nice one you've met thus far.
Okay. Logus will kind of keep that to himself right now, clock it, but kind of keep in his back pocket for now.
So as this this half-elven maiden kind of shows you guys to your accommodations, it really is like a lush, lavish type of environment. There's like plush pillows and gold trim and a fireplace and like a marble mantle and not only windows for looking out, but like big stained glass windows for letting the light in. It's like well lit and lavishly adorned. There's like a small bar and after she kind of gets you guys settled in, it is not long before several trays of like dried fruits and various like tree nuts and things are like presented to you guys as like almost like a charcuterie board. And so you guys kind of are given this personal quarters, and the maiden excuses herself as well as do a couple of servants, and that is currently where you guys find yourself in this like warm kind of very pompous, very plush environment. It's got like a very it's like almost like an incensey smell. Beautiful windows, and the architecture on the inside of the house kind of matches the outside. You see like high walls and sharp angles. Like it is definitely this kind of weird high elven architecture that only they can like perfect and prefer, it seems.
Well, that was weird.
Yeah, I mean, that's the that's the first welcome greeting we've gotten since we entered this town. But I mean, he's giving us free food, and I'm on board.
I have to say it is refreshing that I'm not going to have to just be on edge the entire time because I can't take that elitist bullshit. And well, it's reassuring to know they're not all like that.
Doesn't it
Well,
strike anyone weird that they are all like that, and then he just seems to be the only one that's not? Seems like they've got to stick up their ass.
well, I'm suspicious, but at the same time, not every dog is going to bite you. But my goal is to completely polish up my armor, polish up this pendant, and walk around with a stick up my ass as, they are not knights of Borsland. They are not part of the Sands of Justice. They are not the freers of Hortonshire. We are. They are beneath me. And I'll let them know that.
I'm with him on this one. And I'm already wearing my fancy digs, so I just pull out my badge and like my insignia and make sure that my Sands of Justice dagger is oh shit, no, I gave that away. I guess my 2 masterwork daggers and Polaris or like I'm basically just a walking like series of blades that are all very ornate.
Glitter's gonna hear Locris talking about polishing armor, and he's gonna like whip out like his like rags and like oils that he carries on him because he's very particular about his own armor. Be like, yeah, I can help you with that. I'm polish my armor every single morning, so I can loan you some stuff, make it all nice and shiny.
Okay, you start working on that. And as soon as he starts getting his rag ready and everything else, Locris is just going to start casting prestidigitation on his armor to shine it up and buff it out.
Yeah, and Glitter's gonna get to work, spending the next probably hour polishing his armor, and I guess anyone else's that requests it. Just making sure everything's nice and Jesus, shiny and polished. Kind of like looking at a mirror if for anyone's armor. Get his shield and swords all nice and gleaming nice. And then he's also going to take some time cleaning, taking apart his blunderbuss, cleaning all the pieces, taking it apart, putting it back together, and familiarizing himself with that again. Just practice makes perfect. And then, slinging that on his back as well once he gets everything together.
Okay, yeah, for sure. As, Blade, do you have any like rituals or anything you're gonna do?
No rituals. Blade's just gonna Blade's a little nervous, honestly. He's kind of maybe up against the wall, just kind of sitting on the ground, tuning his lute, cleaning it, his dragon tooth lute, and maybe kind of scrolling or going through his book, flipping pages back and forth, trying to find maybe a tale that would be worthy enough of this performance because he really wants to nail it. But doing that and maybe playing as well and kind of coordinating with Archie, being like, oh no, you're supposed to go on the off note. You play on the off note. That's what you do. And yeah, just preparing, nervous.
As you guys are kind of doing your thing, the lord that you were speaking to in the kind of like light blue robes, this kind of a pale high elf with his piercing blue eyes, he comes into the room. He raps on the door gently before letting himself in, and he says, I figured I'd come with a bit of an offering. And he has a couple of bottles of wine that have been wrapped with like a very fancy like red bow, and he kind of sets them down on a nearby counter. He says, I just wanted to thank you for taking this endeavor, first of all. Awesome. And I just kind of wanted to introduce myself proper. I am Lord Svelison, and I will be the main proprietor of the evening. However, unfortunately, due to political reasons, I'm not going to be able to like chat you guys up or be very like friendly and whatnot. Can't be seen, rubbing elbows with the help, if you will, or the hired on and whatnot. It's not good for my image. So as much as I detest how my fellow elves kind of treat the mortal races in general, I am kind of, at least politically, kind of bound to keep appearances. So I can't. I won't be able to be so chummy when during the performance and things, but now, before and after, for sure. But only in private. It's a big stigma that I would just rather not deal with. But if there's anything you guys need, aside from, he gestures to the bottles of wine, aside from any wine or any other accommodations can be made, please feel free to let me know, and I will absolutely accommodate. He turns his attention to Blade. He says, "So, have anything in mind? Do you have like a new original or maybe an old classic? Tell me, give me a preview. What are you planning there?"
Oh, well, I would never show my cards, but let's just say I'm writing this one for you especially.
Yeah, Lord Svelison smiles and he says, Blade, you are truly a wonder. Not even a little peak. With a poem, perhaps a ballad, or even a rift."
Let me give you a little something just so you can get by. My party and I, we took on a hag with the aid of my friends, celestial stag. I don't like to brag, but we waved the victory flag over our foes. Yeah, that is it.
And give me a performance check real quick, Blade. Nicely done, by the way. Smooth rhyme.
$32.
With a 32, you kind of just kind of go about strumming and hitting a few riffs and kind of just letting these lines come to you as they go, and literally is like mouth aghast, like mouth open, gaping, just kind of watching you do what you do. And by the end of your tale, he kind of wipes a tear away from his eye, and he's like, God damn it, Blade, that was beautiful. I'll leave you to it. I'll leave you to it. And on his way towards the door, he stops and like blows his nose on a handkerchief, and he leaves, reaches into his robe and leaves like drops a bag in between the two wine bottles, and it looks to be some sort of satchel sealed with a rope, but it lands with a heavy thud, and he continues on towards the door. Good day, and let me know if you need anything, please. We'll set in preparations, and I really appreciate this, Blade. And he kind of leaves with a tear in his eye.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Hey, Blade, what you got there in that satchel? Do you give you a little pre-show tip, or is it more meat and cheese? Because if it's more meat and cheese, you have to share. I mean, like we're all here. You can't just hold it to yourself.
Oh, my friend, you're right. It did land with quite a thud. It could be way more charcuterie.
If it's tree nuts, if it's just goddamn tree nuts, I swear to God.
Well, I would not want to leave us to wander, and Blade will sling his loot over his back and make his way over and grab between the bottles there, this satchel, and kind of peer into it.
As you tear open to it, Blade, you are staring at about 1,200 gold pieces worth of diamonds.
Oh, that is nice. He'll kind of close the bag and look back at the group and be like, it's quite a bit of diamonds. Almost as much as I lost this morning in value.
Did you say diamonds?
I did, and
1,200 gold pieces. Okay, well, that's a lot of diamonds, which, there's a particular spell which I currently know that could help us very much where I need a lot of diamonds. So, I mean, that's your payment for this gig, but I would trade you money for those diamonds. So you still get paid and I get the diamonds. I don't have to buy them from a dealer and potentially get ripped off and, maybe keep us alive.
I'm hoping this isn't just the payment. But even if it is, it's more valuable in your hands, my friend. If you've got something that you can use it, a spell of sorts, I don't know your magic, but it's better off in your hands. And he'll take the satchel, pass it to Gladier, and kind of close his hands over it and push it towards him and say, it's yours.
Are you sure you don't want me to give you some gold for it? I mean, the only reason we got invited here was because of you.
My friend, when you're at my level of
So humble.
eliteness as far as being a bard, it's not about the gold anymore. It becomes about your name and your establishment, and that is more than fair pay in itself. I mean, gold is nice, and I don't want to be poor, but I'm getting my name out there is what I've really want. Please take the diamonds.
All right. Well, I promise to put them to good use. If any of you guys die, I can bring you back 5 times. Now, Revivify is a very taxing spell. Requires a lot of material components, one of them being a very expensive diamond. So, this is going to help us a lot if anyone, gets seriously injured. And I'm going to. God, I have to have them on me. You know what? I'm gonna keep 2 on me, and I'm gonna rock over to who is a bag of holding? Is it Locris or Runwick?
Both.
Yeah,
Both?
they both have their own bag of holding, I do believe.
Yeah, we both
Okay.
do. I've got a fair amount of shit in mind, so you might want to give them to Locris, and also that'll spread things out a little bit. So I'm not carrying a ton of shit that we need
Yeah.
in case I die or do something stupid.
Okay, so Locris, I'm gonna walk over to you, and I'm gonna give you, 900 gold pieces worth of diamonds. So I'm essentially keeping 2 Revivifies worth of diamonds on my person and giving 3 worth to Locris. So 900 GP worth diamonds to Locris. Just because I'm terrified to keep. I've been robbed on more than one occasion. I'm scared to keep that much diamonds on my person. And I also have a scroll of Revivify. So technically I can cast Revivify 3 times before having to go into Locris's bag of holding.
I think it's gonna backfire, and you're gonna be the one that goes down, so nobody can use it.
I mean, probably. That's my luck.
It's okay, buddy. If you go down, we'll take the scroll of Revivify off your body and attempt to just defibrilize you back into the battle.
All right. Yeah. So Blader's just gonna give Blade a hug after giving him that, receiving that gracious gift. I mean, it's for the party, but still a gracious gift. And then go back to his meat and cheese board. Like he just grabs a full charcuterie board to himself and sits down a nice plush comfy chair and starts eating again.
It's like super high quality, like the most high quality charcuterie board ever. Like the thinnest of most cured meats and a variety of cheeses. It's like top notch. So as Gladiator houses a bunch of food, and you guys find yourselves, it's still probably early morning, and Blade's performance still several hours away, at least scheduled to be. Is there anything in particular you guys want to do with your downtime?
After polishing, Locust is just going to read his book because he doesn't trust walking around the manor by himself.
And Glader's also gonna pull out his divine healing book because he spent some time with his blunderbuss. Now he's gonna spend some time reading his divine healing book and just reading up on that.
Logus probably would have stepped out into the hallway, just kind of like not go very far, but just curiosity, just kind of looking around a little bit out in the hallway, and then going back to the room and spending time with Tony, making sure the dog's in the room too, and perching Tony up on the window so she's free to roam and all that.
Oh, for sure. And while you're kind of going up and down the hall, you notice a couple of elven guards kind of on patrol. Don't seem to pay you any mind, and there's a lot of like rich like mahogany and like silver frames with a lot of like different varying elves, like portraits of elves hanging all along the walls. But nobody you recognize, and they all look very like old paintings. Past lords and ladies, perhaps, but as you kind of make your way back and tend to your animals, it is a big plush room. It looks like there'll be plenty of room for them, at least for the time being.
And could I make another pass at that animal handling check to teach the dog to guard?
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead and give me another animal handling check.
Probably a waste, but it was a natural 20 for a total of 28.
As you kind of, it finally clicks, as you're kind of going through your training routine with him once again, perhaps even a routine you purchased off of a dog trainer recently. You kind of stick to the routine a little bit better. You follow the instructions to the T, and the mechanical automaton Labrador seems to kind of pick up what you're putting down, and is now kind of capable of being given the command to guard. It will, at the very least, alert you. It's not necessarily going to like attack an intruder, but should someone try to enter via like door or window, the dog would certainly alert you. Would start barking and things.
Would you look at that? Those instructions I bought off of that dog trainer actually worked, and I'm quite surprised. and he'll just spend a little time with the dog until it's time to go.
Renwick, Blade, anything you want to do? You have several hours before this dinner performance.
I think he would take some time to just polish up armor, polish his blades, like really kind of put his best foot forward, deck himself out. And then if we have free run of the place, I think he would just kind of like wander around, not necessarily trying to be suspicious or anything, just kind of getting a lay of the land, memorizing like how the building's laid out. If there's like an outside, he could kind of walk around, then he'll pack a pipe of tobacco and just kind of puff on it as he's strolling around, making mental notes of like landmarks, anything that looks interesting.
Oh yeah, you make your way around, puffing on a pipe. And aside from some like tapestries and things, I mean, there seems to be a wing that's of this building that's particularly interesting. It's like it's got several like bathing quarters, and then it's got like a sauna that has like a big public bath type of area. It's also got like a fairly large like lounge. It looks to be like a well-stocked bar, and also a pretty vast library, like a very large library in this building. And aside from that, it's a plethora of personal quarters. The guards kind of don't mind you; they let you go to and fro, but. The one place they don't let you enter is the Lord's private quarters. But everywhere else, you kind of meander to and fro. There's some kitchens. There's even some basement, like lower level dungeons. There's about a dozen cells under this building. And yeah, it's just kind of an interesting little spot. You don't see anything that sticks out in particularly, but you do notice a handful of guards on patrol, and the Lord seems to be still sitting on his pompous little like throne-ish kind of like chair, and he does occasionally have to give some orders to some guards. They look like the higher up officers. You catch him. Writing out some messages and having them delivered via courier and things like just typical shit you would imagine a lord doing. But yeah, aside from that, there's not a whole lot going on, but you do manage to essentially case the joint.
I think
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Blade, after kind of sitting down and writing for a bit, would maybe make his way out. If we're close enough, he'd probably make his way back and check on Gibraltar and Gibraltar, make sure they're all good. Yeah, but I think he might hang around maybe the tavern for a little bit, grab a drink, quietly, maybe put his hood up so he's not mobbed by fans, um, and then yeah, just kind of bide his time.
Also, one last thing Glader would want to do. He'd ask Locris to clean up his cloak and his tabard, because they're like close to a white cloth. So he has asked Locris to prestidigitation and clean those up a bit so they're cleaner, because he learned from his mistake at the last party they went to for a noble, and he's going in full armor. But he still wants to look, clean and put together. So he'd ask for a little help there with Locris's magic.
100 gold pieces.
100 gold. How about I just reserve one of these diamonds for if you die? So even if somebody else dies first, if I only have one left, I'll just let him die, and then you save it for you.
All right, I could do that.
All right, fair enough. Shakes his hand and then hands over to
Writes in Sharpie on one of the diamonds, Locris.
Exactly.
So I clean his shit up.
Blade, you do kind of venture out and find that the servants have already fetched the livestock, and they are now being housed at the royal hall. And as you kind of go check up on Gibraltar and Gibraltar, it is a much nicer stable. These stables are impeccably clean, and well supplied. Definitely, they are not for at want for anything. And you find yourself there's a large lounge or bar room in this establishment, and you find your way there and pour yourself a stiff drink. And as the time kind of moves forward, you guys do eventually notice a small smattering of people seem to be arriving. As you kind of peek out the windows, it looks to be a lot of hoity-toity types, a lot of different garbs, silk and fine cloths. You guys see jewelry of various proportions, things that are kind of gaudy, large hats with feathers, and the occasional walking cane, despite not necessarily needing to walk or use it to walk. More of an accessory. But you see, rings and bracelets and just a lot of finery on a lot of these people. It's almost like they're trying to show off or one up one another. You get this very kind of stuck up, better than thou kind of vibe without even stepping into the crowd, just kind of watching them arrive. And most of them are high elven, but not all. Some similar to you lot seem to be arriving in full armor. Other guests of some kind, but it looks like there's an orc and a couple of dwarves. Some other various individuals who are not elven, who are also in very finely polished armors and things, who come to attend this event as well. And as the royal hall kind of fills up, it also fills up with great aromas of freshly baked bread and cooked meats and things. And before long, the lord of the house returns to your guys' quarters, raps gently before entering, and comes in, and he himself is in a very very nice blue and silver suit. He's got a bit of a cape and not quite a crown, but a golden circlet on top of his brow. And he comes back into your room and says, "Well, it's just before time that we're getting things together. Blade, of course, you'll be the main act. Well, you'll be the finishing act too. So please, like I said, come sit down and enjoy some food and things. You'll have to follow the couple of acts that we've hired, and hopefully it's a good show. No pressure or anything, but there's some other high elven nobility, and if you blew their socks off, it would really make me look good. So I mean, there might be a little bonus in it for you if you can touch their souls with your art there, Blade. Do what you do." He kind of smiles. Is there anything you guys need prior? I have to go take my place, and I kind of have to assume the role of pompous ass if I am to maintain my position here. So anything you guys need beforehand? We can chat again after, but I'm gonna have to kind of be plutonic during the performance.
Blade just turns and looks and says, "Rest assured, my friend, I'm not going to just touch their hearts. I'm going to rip it out and serve it to them on a plate."
He kind of looks to you. He's like, "Ah, God, yes. I love to hear it." All right then. Well, if you guys are all set, I'll leave a servant outside to guide you to your tables, and please arrive at any time. We'll be starting the ceremonies here shortly. Food's already on the tables, so see you soon. And he leaves and makes sure to station the half-elven maiden at your guys' door, waiting to escort you to your table when you guys are ready to leave.
Well, it's your party, Blade. Whenever you're ready, we'll follow.
Well, let's get this show on the road. And he'll make his way out.
Okay. As you guys kind of make your way out, the Elven Maiden leads you back into the Royal Hall. And the last time you were in this rather large, kind of echoey room, it seems to have been transformed. Candles float in the air where around the candelabras, all of them lit, giving a very well-lit feel to the room. And what previously was an empty room is now full of chairs and benches and tables and things and places for guests to sit and dine. And on many of these long, kind of ornate wooden tables, there are silver platters full of a variety of meats. There's turkey and duck and roast ham, roast beast of varying sorts, and sides, some of the finest vegetables, the spices and smells of this cooking just kind of mixed together into like some almost a sickening aroma. And it's kind of mesmerizing as you guys are kind of walked to your own section of the table. You guys do get some looks. The area around you kind of immediately hushes when you enter, and several people like try not to look directly at you, but you're getting a lot of side eyes, and the occasional patron across the way will outright just kind of whisper to one another while basically making eye contact with you guys. You guys are kind of the talk of the town at the moment. As you guys find your way to the seats, Lord Svelison gives a little tap on a crystal cup. Ting, 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 ting. Well, now our guests of honor, the fellow nobles and aristocrats, and of course the master bard, Blade Silverstring. Please, enjoy yourselves. Let the celebrations begin. And as he says that, another round of servants comes out, topping off people's drinks, and a small stage that has been erected kind of where his once little pompous chair was. A few lights kind of hit it just right, and a few performers take the stage. It looks to be a couple of they're very scaly, not quite dragonborn, but very similar to Gladier, like a very lizard-like humanoid. And these two lizard folk essentially begin to do a dance that quickly turns deadly as spouts of fire begin erupting from one's mouth, and the other begins juggling these very sharp, shiny, polished blades, and they do tricks that coincide with one another. One will throw a blade through the fire, or the one will create a circle of fire for the other to jump through while juggling blades. And it is the opening act, and it doesn't it gains about as much attention as you guys are sitting there doing nothing, eating. Like half the crowd's eyes are still on you. A hushed murmur through the crowd as this performance kind of goes on. As you guys are kind of doing your thing, you catch a bit of just naturally some of the conversation that's kind of coming and going in this ballroom, this big kind of area with all these kind of mostly aristocrats and things. But as they're catching up with one another and gossiping, it's quite difficult not to come across some of the things that they're saying. So you guys do pick up a couple of rumors that are kind of floating around just as you kind of enjoy your meals and your beverages. It seems that the Royal Guard currently lacks the resources or perhaps ability to patrol the roads or even enforce their own curfew laws. Another rumor you hear is rumors abound about the kidnappings. Like what started it as people suddenly going missing is turning into outright raids on elven settlements, rarely breaching the city or walls or elven defenses. It is often the outer settlements that suffer, mostly impoverished peoples and districts. The high elves don't really seem to care much about. But another rumor you find is that during these kidnappings of late, many who intervene or fight back too hard are slain, but it seems these conspirators take great care to capture elves alive when they can, sometimes sacrificing their own comrades to do so. And with these kind of rumors abounding, the act changes. The small light smattering of polite applause and a couple of tabaxi take the stage. Acrobats, one a strong man, one an acrobat. You watch as this very pretty in shape, pretty fit-looking tiger-like humanoid throws this woman who is a bit leaner, a bit more spotted, looking more like a jaguar, throws her into the air, and she twists and consorts herself into fantastical ways as she comes down, and he, with a mighty swoop and a fluid motion, launches her in a different direction yet again, and this kind of masterful dance they begin doing, going back and forth as this performance kind of carries on. So do the rumors. You guys hear another rumor that all of the local areas are running on a skeleton crew of guards and soldiers. About a month ago, an official royal decree summoned any and all available troops and soldiers to Lesivian Keep under command of Prince Althric. These actions are akin to what would happen in war, but not a word as to why has been uttered. Another rumor. Whispers are about the alleged return of the Drow. It's been 10,000 years since the War of the Elves. Perhaps they have held a grudge all this time and have been secretly recovering and preparing for another attempt to destroy us, their surface cousins. And finally, rumors say that a large swath of Brightwood has actually been transformed into ice and snow, killing or causing to flee all the flora and fauna in and around the area, and no one's sure as to why. As you guys kind of pick up on a lot of these rumors, yet another performance takes place. The tabaxi bow and head out, and a couple of gnomes arrive, and these gnomes begin tooting on like a flute and playing a drum, and they start by making, it's kind of just noise. This melody doesn't make sense. It doesn't click at first, but then they stop playing the flute and drum themselves. But the flute and drum do not stop playing, and the gnomes produce yet another couple of instruments, one a harp and the other a horn of some kind, and they begin to play them as well. And though it sounds a little bit like noise, it sort of harmonizes with the first couple of instruments, and then as they relinquish these instruments, they continue to play themselves as well. And yet a third instrument, one busts out like a lute, and the other a panpipe, and finally all of the instruments seem to be meshing in this beautiful cacophony of music that was once started out as just kind of like a harsh noise, is now a beautiful melody. And they carry it on for a few minutes, and then end their performance and collect their various instruments and bow. And once again, you guys hear this whole process, all these rumors and these performances. You've spent the better part of an hour kind of at this dinner, and you finally hear a ting 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 on this crystalline glass as once again Lord Svelison stands up and says, "Well, as we all can attest, to great performers, obviously, some locals here, some local flavor of Ledlitton, but these intro performers are not why I have summoned you all here. We have something truly great in Ledlitton, and I'd be lying if I say he hasn't moved me to tears at least once. So, without further ado, for what you all have come here to see, please, my friend, Blade Silverstring, take the stage." And he kind of bows to you, offers a cheer from this like crystal decanter, cheers, like air cheers you from across the room, and gestures to the open stage before taking his seat amongst all the other aristocrats and nobles and things.
So Blade will kind of get up out of his chair, finish chewing on what he was eating, and make his way up. He's got Archie on his shoulder, and he'll, is carrying his lute. And he makes his way up and kind of sits down on the stage for a brief moment, kind of gathering his stuff, making sure his book's there, and kind of lays down his lute and says, "All right, Archie, are you ready?" And he stands up and he says, "Thank you all for it's quite an honor to be here tonight and to have all of you, such ones from various, I'm sure, lands and provinces. Thank you for coming, and please enjoy. This one is for you, Lord Svelison." And so he'll grab his book, or his lute, sorry, and you'll see from out from underneath the stage a hand, like a blue hand, coming up and lifting up his book before him, and he flips it open with the hand, and he's like, "That's not the one. No, that'll do. Svelison."
Can
And he'll
I
go,
on something really quick?
Yeah,
"You're
what's
ruining my
up?
performance, Clady."
Somebody shoots the dragonborn. No, just kidding.
He's my friend, but kill.
Just as Blade was like standing up to go to the stage, Glader would have, reached out and like grabbed his wrist and kind of looked up at him and be like, you've played plenty of stages, plenty of performances. Don't let these rich hoity-toity bastards make you nervous. You got this. And then his holy symbol is gonna flash a golden light really quick, and I'm gonna cast a Fortune's Favor on Blade. So it's a third level spell, or no, second level spell. So you impart latent luck onto yourself or one willing creature you see within range. When you make an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw before the spell ends and it lasts 1 hour, you can essentially you get luck. So you can basically roll with advantage, roll another d20, and take whichever, take the higher roll. So you basically get a luck point.
Oh, thank you very much.
And as he's walking out, Logos will just tap him on the back and, "Come on, it's like any other show you've done. You've got this." And I'm gonna give him guidance, so he gets an extra D4 on his roll. And what is it like? What's the room like? Is it lit up? Is it candles? Are we still in daylight, or what's the lighting situation like in the room?
It is very well lit. There's like some candelabras, like pretty high up above, that kind of give a good shine of light, as well as like a plethora of like floating candles, just kind of drifting around them to kind of provide even extra light. The room is pretty well lit, and as far as like the room proper, I mean, there The benches and things weren't in here before when you guys had entered, so it's like they're kind of makeshift, but they're all very, very nice. You know, they're all like high quality, high end, very well carved in just about everything. And then, of course, the crowd itself is mostly nobles. You see a lot of fine clothing and jewelry.
Um, well, with Druid craft, I can instantly light or snuff out candles. So what I wanted to do is to just give him a little flavor, is like as he's getting set up to like snuff out the candles a little bit, so it's a little dark, and then as he's like getting ready to like light them up, so where it lights up, as he's getting ready to perform, just add a little flavor.
Oh, for sure, as you kind of, dim the lights to kind of add to the dramatic effect. On Blade. So go ahead and tell me how you knock down this performance, as all eyes are on you.
So Blade looks at Felison and says, "This one's for you, my lord." And takes a slight bow. And he starts playing this kind of not haunting, but just kind of mellow tune. And he says, "Spellison, what a wondrous lord, honest and straight as a steel-woven sword. What an honor it is to sing and proclaim. Tonight before you is Blade Silverstring."
Oh, damn, that was pretty good, right? Yeah, yeah. Make a performance roll with some advantage for sure.
32.
Fuck me, these are like inhuman numbers constantly. If Blade just shreds, the tale, the melody, everything. It's like mystical and magical, and it fills the whole room with like almost like a palpable tension. They're all kind of watching it, dumbstruck. For once, the rumors and the whispers and the shit talking essentially is all stopped. Like a lot of these high elven nobles were not expecting something so exquisite. They were told it was great, but they were not expecting this level of entertainment, especially from somebody who's not particularly trained in the high elven cultures of like the music and poetry and things. So it's like it's shocking to the crowd, and as Blade goes on this little performance, once he concludes, they similar to the crowd the night before. It's stunned silence, and it is Lord Spellison that starts the slow clap that erupts into like basically a standing ovation. Like these people went from starstruck to cheering for you, whereas before they were you were clearly being judged for not being full elven, and now these guys are just like basically having to eat their words as they thoroughly entertained and enjoyed a rare performance that few have been able to master, let alone perform. And yeah, Blade, once again, you bring the house down. These guys are you cheering. You get a few roses thrown up onto this makeshift stage, and you see a few teary-eyed individuals wipe a tear away, and you once again delivered a solid, upstanding performance.
Blade will bow, taking the flowers and everything, and making his way back to his seat and say, "Thank you, thank you. Truly, it's an honor. Thank you, thank you."
As you kind of bow and give your thanks and things and make your way back to the table, Lords the Lord Spellison just kind of gestures to a couple of individuals who are talking to him, and then he kind of open hand gestures to the party sitting by Blade, like and you guys kind of overhear a little political banter. It seems like the overall consensus of the High Elves is that they don't really care for the mortal races. They don't really live long enough to affect things or master or perfect things, and it kind of offsets a lot of the elves. A little bit of the political banter you hear is also that these like slum quarters that pop up around all of these elven cities are essentially not really participating in the government as far as like being able to pay a significant amount of taxes, but it's the elvish army and the elvish presence that keeps the nasty creatures at bay, that allows these communities to flourish. So they're kind of like they're taking but not giving back. But if Blade Silverstring can a half elf and not even a high elf can play music like this, then maybe maybe there's talent there that's untapped that we just didn't really know, and these are the kind of things that are being bounced around the room. But you particularly hear Lord Svelicin kind of advocating these things, like pulling some of the other people aside. Like, I've tried to, I'm not trying to rub my constituents the wrong way, obviously, but I have thought for a long time that there was some real talent in the mortal races, not just for bards, something we might want to consider moving forward. And a couple of elves kind of nod and agree and consider it, but a majority of them were like, yeah, right. I mean, you got one lucky. Yeah, this is preposterous. Once in a while, some of our good blood's gonna filter down. It just happens. He just comes from good stock. And so it's kind of like a back and forth. You guys get a very political feel, like it was almost like a stunt by Lord Svelicin to try to spearhead some being kinder or more lenient towards the mortal races type of like politics, rather. And it doesn't seem like everybody's on board, but it looks like he's at least got a small handful of elves who don't think the mortal races are complete shite, or at least are beginning to maybe change their minds about that.
Well, I'd say your music did a number there, Blade.
Well, yeah, it is. It is my trade. It's the one thing I can do all right. And instead of keeping track of my own money, not as bad as my friend over there, though. It's a gladiator.
He just likes to donate to the less fortunate.
Yeah, I let them steal from me. It's fine.
It's so generous of you.
As this dinner kind of pushes on and begins to conclude, a few people, a few patrons do come by your table, Blade, and you are passed several pieces of parchment over the next hour or so. And these pieces of parchment are looks to be contacts to nobility. It looks like several other people may want to hire you to perform in and around their manors and private quarters. But several pieces of these parchment are just the address to a local tavern or inn room. And it's pressed with a kiss, some lipstick on it, a clear invite by another maiden or two to a perhaps a midnight rendezvous. But yeah, you managed to network pretty well. A handful of these wealthy, sophisticated elves kind of reach out to you, are interested at least procuring your musical services, and a handful of others maybe coming at you for a shag. Who knows?
Blade has never been just more stoked and happy. I can imagine him just having this huge grin on his face. He had a performance and he nailed it. He's taking these scrolls, just kind of maybe taking a quick glance, at some of the nice little love letters, and kind of looking around to seeing who said what, and trying to make eyes. But he'll tuck them away into his vest and kind of eat his meal happily.
Yeah, so as you guys kind of conclude your meals, a majority of the crowd leaves, and Lord Spellison decides that he's going to have a bit of a chat with a couple of fellow aristocrats and things, and the small group of these elves kind of make their way more towards the lounge area of this large kind of like royal hall. And it kind of leaves you guys to your business. The servants kind of come in and begin kind of cleaning up the tables and chairs and dishes and things. And so left to your own devices, how do you guys proceed from here?
Locris is looking around, trying to figure out some of the people at the party.
Okay, well, are you looking for anything in particular, or
just kind of getting a feel of who's there? Anybody that I may recognize or of note, or if it's like just a sea of faces.
Go ahead and give me a perception check.
A natural 20 for 25.
Oh, well played. With that, you do notice that one of the servants that comes in is actually Tekka. She is the red tiefling girl you had met before, and she comes in and starts like kind of doing what the other servants are doing, like bussing plates. But you catch her clear as day. When nobody's looking, she full on just throws like a silver chalice, a silver platter, a bunch of food and things like off of this table into this sack, like, and just casually like tucks it away like she's just going about cleaning. Like, but you full on catch this tiefling girl Tekka having infiltrated this kind of party, pretending to be the help, and she is just fucking robbing the place blind.
If she comes and busses our table, I'm going to slip her a platinum, kind of like on the plate as she comes to take it.
And as she kind of comes by, she notices you, and she sees you, and you see her, and she lock eyes, is kind of in terror for a minute, seeing that somebody recognizes her. But your gesture kind of calms her. She smiles and, oh, let me get that for you, sir. And takes the tray as well as the coin.
Well, the help seems friendly, he says to the party.
Yeah, but a lot of those nobles walked off to another room. I'm a little curious what they're talking about.
Well, maybe Renwick could sneak in there to hear or Logos if it's dim enough, but I know I can't get anywhere close.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Renwick, upon hearing these like rumors, as we're just kind of in the area, would have definitely taken advantage of his height and kind of stealthed around and just tried to pick up on any more interesting rumors and kept an eye on like whether or not he can see into this room these nobles went into.
Glader would
Go ahead, sorry.
Glader would less sneakily just kind of stand up and walk towards that room, which I'm assuming Renwick at this point is kind of ear to the door outside of right now, but he would just kind of walk with a sense of purpose through the dining hall towards that room and just kind of meet up with Renwick and just try and put on the air that he knows where he's going, and he has a reason to be going there.
Renwick kind of clocked earlier this like bar like lounge room as he was just kind of like walking around taking the place in, and that seems to be where most of the high elven nobles have gone off to, including Lord Svelison. So yeah, as you guys kind of make your way there, it's just around the corner. It's a bunch of these older blokes sipping brandy and talking. But the conversation, as you guys kind of come in, you're they give you a glance, but they don't particularly pay you guys any mind, as they assume you're guests of the household. But as you guys kind of make your way in, and kind of idly going to get a drink and just kind of eavesdropping at the same time, you do hear that the conversation is kind of dire. Like while there's several conversations going on at once, Lord Spellison and a couple of like nobles and aristocrats are all having like a very kind of heated conversation where they're all kind of teaming up on Lord Spellison. And as far as you guys hear, it's along the lines of, so there's been attacks and they're focusing on taking elven prisoners or captives. Like they seem to cut their way through the varying poor districts, the slum districts, if you will, and it's happened in every city except for Ledlitten. You're not worried about that? It happened in Shrawlitten, but maybe 3-4 days ago. This town is not big. You do not have a massive army here, nor do we even have walls. And not to mention that we have the largest population of those of the mortal races, those living on the outskirts, not within the town proper. You're not worried? Don't you think we should be ringing the bells and fortifying the area? And then another aristocrat speaks up. Well, the royal commander, Prince Althric, has already taken all of our extra, not only soldiers, but rations and gear. We are working with almost no soldiers. How are we supposed to defend ourselves when we send every available warrior to the keeps? This doesn't make sense. Lord Svelison, what should we do about this? And Lord Svelison's kind of taking it all in, but he said, I don't know what is causing these attacks or where they're coming from or who is doing this, but I assure you, Ledlitten is safe. We have a legion of trained elves right here in the Royal Hall. There was few forces in all of Daanal Wisech that could take this Ledlitten. They would have to march an army across vast landscapes. We'd see them coming for tens of thousands of miles. There's no way that they're going to get here and destroy us, or we're going to be overrun. We should be vigilant, perhaps set up a decent perimeter, but you're speaking as if we need to evacuate the city. And another person kind of pipes up, we should evacuate the city. We should evacuate all the mortal races so they don't get hurt. And then, well, the slum problem kind of fixes itself, doesn't it? And so this conversation kind of continues to go on as you guys pour yourselves some beverages at the bar.
Well, Renwick, seems like they're in quite the dilemma now.
Well, I wish I felt worse for him. I'm more worried about the impoverished people. They're the ones that are really at risk with all this going on, especially if there's a low population of guards. But whatever's happening, it seems like all signs are pointing back to that keep.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if we can get rid of this slave operation, that'll help some, and then yeah, I feel like it's all pointing back to this keep, and then it's all pointing back to the vampires taking these slaves for their own bidding. own sacrifices.
Well, it seems like it could be the drow kidnapping people. If the rumors are true. If if they're pulling all the guards and everything back to where this potential entrance is, or they're bolstering their keep, whatever it is, I think it's worth checking out. Maybe we can help. We can get that guard population back here if we help take care of whatever the problem is.
Yeah, kill two birds, one stone. Help them with their onslaught and their these quote unquote slums outside with the mortal races, people like us. I'll also find the entrance to the Underdark, where we need to be.
So best relay this to the party and get back to them.
Yeah, I think this might be said talk to them, and then I think this needs to be a private conversation with the Lord himself. He'll probably be able to get us some information to where this potential entrance might be. And Glader's gonna turn to the barkeep, order a round of shots of his finest bourbon, and then bring it back to the party.
Yeah, this elf in like a nice button-up white kind of tea kind of serves you a tray of it's just a tray of shots of bourbon. You've got like 20 shots on this thing.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, he's gonna kind of like part the Red Sea and lead the way back to the table, and so Renwa could follow in his wake.
I would imagine. Also, I have no problem slipping through a crowd because I can move through spaces of creatures larger than me. So I do appreciate it, though.
But don't
I
you
just
want
imagine as
to-
you're walking through a crowd of these pompous assholes carrying this tray of like fancy bourbon that they just think you're hired help and they're just taking a shot off of it like you're walking around with hors d'oeuvres.
Oh, if anyone reaches for them, Glader 100% like growls and like rolls some fire around in his throat, so his like teeth are like emanating like a just yellow flame if anyone other than his friends reach for the shots.
Yeah, maybe one is on your way by who kind of like reacts poorly. Oh, I'll just wait for the next one.
Yeah, that's probably wise. And he just keeps on walking.
Yeah, so the party can reconvene, finishing up in the royal hall. You still have like a kind of lavish quarters of your own. You guys kind of find your way there, avoiding the help and the high elves all the same. And as you guys kind of reconvene in your room, it is a couple hours past dusk at this point. How do you guys proceed?
Well, guys, first of all, I got shots. Second of all, Renwick and I found some listening on some important information. I'm gonna let Renwick here deliver that information while I distribute these fine beverages. The finest elven bourbon this place has to offer. We'll see if it holds up to par. And then he just starts kind of like walking around the room, handing out shots to everyone.
Was that 5 shots apiece we get?
Yeah, they sent him with like 20 shots, so about 5 shots each.
Blade will be listening, but he'll kind of be going through those parchments still, just looking, seeing, maybe, oh, is there someone up in room 3B upstairs?
Most of them are to the next door to you is the Lead Litten Lounge, which is a very bougie tavern and inn, and they are all invites exclusively to this club next door. One of them you recognize as an invite from Sugar from the Bent Bucket Inn. She seems to have slipped you her information in there as well.
Oh, not a familiar face.
So what did you guys learn? You may have to tell us later.
As the whole party just looks up confused. Learn.
All right. Well, I was kind of focused on the bartender a little bit, but I'll try and relay the information as best as I remember. Renwick can quote me later or correct me later. Essentially, what we found is overheard the lords and ladies talking about they're really concerned about the invasion coming and the immortal beings, as they referred to people like us, camping out in the slums outside the city. Um, but they're mostly concerned about potential invasion, where it might come from. These drow flaring back up, and they think they're the ones kidnapping various elves throughout the land. And Renwick and I were thinking that they might have a location to where these drow are kind of headlining their operation, and we might be able to, kill two birds with one stone. First bird, obviously, finds the location to the entrance of the Underdark, where these drow are coming from, and where we want to go. Second bird, help out this nation here. I know, Locris, you have ill will with these people, but not all, as you've said before, not all the dogs bite. So, there are innocents here that we could save from abduction if we quell this invasion. So, kind of two birds, one stone situation. Help out some people and also move along our own goal of finding out where this entrance to the Underdark is, and therefore the entrance to the Shadowvale. But I think we need to talk to this Lord.
Well, he said that he thinks the entrance to the Underdark there is at the Big Word Academy. So that's probably where
He
we're going to
did
end
tell
up
us that
hiding.
already. But yeah, they're mainly concerned with this current invasion. Like all the nobles are nervous that these kidnappings and are going to escalate, and more people are going to get kidnapped, and they're all scared that it's coming, and the lord of this town is trying to tell them, like, no, like, we have plenty of our troops here to defend us, and we could see them coming from miles away, and there's nothing to fear. But looks like he's kind of on the lower end of the, kind of got the shit end of the stick, because he thinks they're fine, but a lot of the nobles think they're not okay. So, he seems all right. He seems like a good fellow, but seems like he might be a little outnumbered when it comes to paranoid nobles.
So, what do you guys propose to do? Head straight to the academy? We're fairly close to my hometown, so I kind of want to pop in and just give it a once over. Go to the keep, defend this place.
Well, I don't know about the rest of the party, but my piece would be, I think we gotta. I mean, we obviously have our own goals in mind, but if we can help out some innocent people while still fulfilling our goals, I think that's a ringer right there. You know, it's always good to help out the innocent and also help out ourselves. It's okay to be a little selfish sometimes. It's a
Coming
little
from the
admission.
holy man, we must be rubbing off on you.
Yeah, no, you guys are terrible influences on me. It's really bad.
Sean, do I know where the keep or academy are relative to where we currently are, as well as to Sillerin?
Yeah, as you would kind of, you're a local. So currently on the map, you're at location 4, which would be Ledlitten, and you know that Sillerin is very centrally located within the nation of Brightwood. It's like the trade hub for pretty much the whole nation, and 5 would be the Levisian Keep, and 6 would be the Academy, and pretty much on opposite sides of the nation of Brightwood. You know that like the keep is the basically the head military installation for all of Brightwood, and you would know that the Macademilect Academy is like a huge place for higher learning, not just magic and spells and research, but also like simple things like gardening, fencing, construction, and things. All stuff that the high elves have like a preferred method of what they would consider like doing it properly that needs to be taught. But yeah, so you would know that Sillerin's right in the middle of in between both of those. You're 3 maybe 4 days travel on either side of Sillerin, one to the west, one to the east, to try to get to these locations. So it's centrally located.
I'd say we go to Sillerin and then just go straight to the academy. If it's just a prince holed up in the keep, chances are he's scared and trying to take all the soldiers to keep him safe. We don't need to deal with that. After all, if the Drow used the access from underneath the academy before, why not use it again?
You've got a point. Quite frankly, we can't take care of this entire town. We kind of have bigger fish to fry right now. So I'm of the mindset we go to your town and then off to the academy as well.
Well, and also if we stayed in this town, who knows when anything would happen? We could be here for months.
Oh, I certainly wouldn't want to stay. I'd want to go see what's going on with this prince, see if we can't get the guards back. But quite frankly, that's not my business right now.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough situation. I mean, I think our goal will help the greater population as a whole. So might need to take precedent over helping one town when they're not necessarily defenseless. So
Well, I mean, the way I see it, this is a flood invasion. You could try and clean up one part of your floor, but if you don't plug up the hole, all you're doing is just cleaning up something that's just going to refill again.
plainly inevitable.
So
Yeah, I think
let
we
us.
take care of this force.
So let's get some rest and head out first thing in the morning.
Do you want to go to Silleran first, or should we just cut straight south to the academy?
Well, we could cut straight down to the academy, but we'd be going through woodlands, and that'll put us towards Logus's buddies, the hags, as well as bandits and every other creepy crawly creature, or we stick to the road, which will take us to Silleran, and there's a road leading off there because it's a trading hub, so it's going to be more safe as it can be.
Yeah, that works for me. All right, let's go. I mean, let's sleep and then let's go.
Unless Lucas wants to find a new friend.
I mean, he always wants to find a new friend, but he can find one on the road.
Logus's eye is just twitching at the mention of hags.
He's gonna find a squirrel somewhere, I swear.
It's about this time in your conversation that normally Lord Svelison enters your quarters with a light knock. He kind of opens the door and sways in. He's a little red in the face. So it looks like he's deep in his cups, and he calls out, "Blade, my man, you incredible. I can't." You're just your talent knows no bounds. You want a permanent job as my court bard? I mean, I'll literally pay you to play songs every day. You don't have to do anything. What do you think? Yeah.
Oh, it's quite an honor, but I'm afraid we're needed elsewhere. Unfortunately, it's truly, if it were just me, then I would be your bard. You seem to have got a level head on your shoulders, and you truly care for the people. And that is the kind of person I wish to serve. That is not where I'm at my point. And if I find myself down the road and maybe I've parted ways with my friends here, then I'm happy to maybe join the ranks with you and be your bard in this court.
At least put me first in consideration. I'm sure you'll have many callers, but think of me when you do.
I absolutely will.
You've helped me in more ways than one, Blade Silverstring. You've helped me do something I haven't been able to do for some time, and that is start this conversation of political correctness. We cannot continue to treat our allies so poorly and expect to remain at the top of this dominance in the many fields that we are dominant in. It's a hard thing to bring up. I'm kind of bound in a way to act a certain way in front of my constituents, lest I lose my seat to someone who truly does not care for the mortal races. Believe it or not, I do bend over backwards occasionally when I can get away with it. But that's for another time. I don't need to bore you with court proceedings and things. I came to reward you. Thank you for your wonderful performance, bringing tears to the eyes of not only some of my staunchest allies, but many of my competitors that would see me fall. It grinds them to watch me succeed so. I love it, Blade. And with that, he reaches into his this blue kind of fancy gold trim robe, and he produces another hefty pouch, which he leaves on the counter next to you, Blade. And he says, well, needless to say, your performance has touched a few people, and, well, one of them apparently was my old bard. I did have one permanently, a house bard, but he seems to have taken your presence quite offensively and departed, which is unfortunate for him. I did have well, we could call it a family heirloom, but he left it behind, and Blade, I think I want you to have it. It's important to me, and I think perhaps it will do you some good. And he produces from a bag of holding this an instrument, and this instrument is a kind of like it's basically a banjo. It is very plucky, kind of a stringy instrument, and as this small banjo comes out of this sack, you see that it's made almost in a way that resembles the elven architecture. It's got this weird, deep, dark wood with almost like too much engravings and carvings and whatnot in it. The strings are pure white, and it just kind of hums with like electricity. And as he pulls this instrument out, this what is known as the Banjo of Illusions, and he presents it to you, Blade Silverstring. This wondrous item does require attunement, but he kind of just breaks it down for you. While you are playing this musical instrument, you can create harmless, illusory visual effects within a 5-foot radius sphere centered on the instrument. If you're a bard, the radius increases to 15 feet, and sample visual effects include luminous musical notes, a spectral dancer, butterflies, gently falling snow. The magical effects have neither substance nor sound, and they are obviously illusory, and the effects end when you stop playing. So he kind of presents this magical banjo to you, if you will, and says, hopefully it will serve you better than my former house bard.
Well, this is quite an honor, and to be given this instrument is... I've never played something like this before, and I hope I can do it justice. I hope I can do your previous court bard's justice to the bard as well that held it and played it previously. Thank you, Svellison.
Indeed. Again, if you guys need anything, holler at me. I'm going to the quarters to sleep off some of this wine. By all means. If you leave in the morning and don't see me, keep in touch. Blade Silverstring in particular. You've no idea. You've done me a great favor this day, and maybe even moved our culture in the right direction. At least started. Thank you, and I'll take my leave. And he gives like a very low, lavish bow, or a bow so low he like stumbles a bit, and then makes his way quickly out of your quarters.
As he's leaving, Blade's going to be like, Svellison, I've got one more little tune for you.
Oh, excellent. He kind of turns around raptly.
And as he's kind of like, he might be like playing with the banjo a little bit, just like not obviously attuning to it, but just kind of playing with it. And he'll just say, a day full of joy, I bid you farewell. A splendor of stories and tales I do tell. Please remember me and the things that I say. Trust in your allies and you'll find your way. And kind of give him a wink.
All right, give me a performance check.
Well, that one, I'll have to work on it a little bit more.
As you're kind of plucking a string breaks mid song, and it just kind of sounds like off key as you're strumming. He's still kind of cherry faced, red from the booze and things, and he kind of bobs to the melody for a bit, but cordially says, "Wow, I must retire, Blade. Thank you again." He kind of gives a deep bow and excuses himself from the room.
Oh, that was embarrassing.
It's all right. After the night you had, you're allowed to be a little exhausted on your performance.
Yes, I guess I am. Thank you.
So let us retire for the evening and set out at first the light.
Okay, yeah. As you guys settle down for the eve in this very kind of bougie, fluffy, it might be the first time for some of you sleeping on like a goose feather comforter and things like that. Like it's very, very bougie, very plush. And you guys find yourselves getting your evening's rest undisturbed. And as the rooster crows the next morning, as the rays of sunshine kind of blast out over all of Brightwood, and you guys begin to stir, what you guys do from here?
I'd imagine Logus is the first one up. So he would kind of, he'd kind of let everyone get their sleep, do his morning ritual with his dog and his bird, and just kind of take stock of if like there's any motion, any noises in the palace or anything. Just kind of listen about so everyone wakes up, seeing if there's any kind of like not commotion, but like movement or talking or anything outside the room.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check.
That's an 18.
With that, you're just kind of listening out, and there is a set of like patrolling guards that are kind of having a bit of a conversation on their way by, and you kind of pick it up, but it seems to be mostly about Blade. So like, oh man, did you see Blade Silverstring, like the performance, like when he was doing that one riff, and then he held that note with his voice. It was a magical moment. It was awesome. And then the people he was traveling with, did you see them? And the other guy's like, oh yeah, I saw them. Did you see the leading aristocrat over there? He fucking took one look at the tiefling, and I was like, oh man, it was like he smelled a pile of shit. His nose was wrinkled the whole night. It was great. The other guy's like, yeah, I know, right? Fucking, oh man, that's fucked up, but that's funny. As they kind of keep going, they leave you. They wander out of earshot.
Okay. Logus will just kind of stay put until everyone gets up and be ready to go do his morning stretches to take off as soon as everyone gets up.
As you guys kind of begin to stir, the typical morning routine for some of these servants starts to crack off. You hear people kind of going to and fro in the hallway, and one of the servants, after a light knock, enters the room with kind of a platter of freshly baked rolls and a couple of pitchers of water for you guys, and says that there will be a spread in the kitchen if you guys require more. And he bows and lets himself out of the room. But at this moment, you guys have all stirred to consciousness. How do you proceed?
Just get up, do the usual morning rituals, grab a bite, and start getting the horse ready.
Didn't we walk here?
No, they brought the horses over and donkeys.
That's right.
Okay, yeah. As you guys kind of prepare your packs and things, and then make your way outside to the stable area where you can gear up your mounts and whatnot. As you guys are kind of getting your things together and putting your getting your saddles equipped and whatnot, Logas, a kind of familiar red tiefling, makes his way over to you, and he kind of sheepishly kind of looks to the ground and grinds his foot in the ground a little bit, and then struggles to make eye contact with you. But as he does, he says quickly, "I'm sorry." And then he turns and runs away. And as he does so, like his bigger sister, this like red tiefling, kind of steps out, folded, arms folded. She steps out from around a corner and stares him down. He stops like mid-run, and his shoulders shirk, and he slowly walks back over to you. He says, "I'm sorry. I was informed only recently that there are more types of elves than just high elves. And somebody," he kind of looks to his sister, "informed me that maybe I treated you kind of how the high elves treated me, and that wasn't very nice. So I'm sorry. I apologize." And he kind of gives you a bow, and you notice the sword you gifted him on his hip.
No need to apologize, friend, when seeing how these people treat others. I see why you are the way you why you felt the way you felt, but I'm glad that I at least opened your eyes a little. Um, Apology accepted, and I'm sorry too for not being a little more understanding and patient. And they kind of look over at Logris, and my friend kind of talked to me about it afterwards, and I was being kind of a dickhead too, but we're all good. I like reach out my hand to like shake his.
He flinches, like he was expecting you to strike him, but he shakes your hand eventually, and he kind of side eyes his sister, and then back to you. And he's like, "You're not made of wood." And then he side eyes his sister, and she gives a nod, and he's like, "Okay, well, see you, mister." And he takes off.
Did he really think that I was an elf made of wood? Because I'm a wood elf. And he'll
Seems
just, and I'll just give a nod to the sister and say, um, "Thank you, for that, and be safe. If we come across, and I have anything to spare, I'll be sure to look out for y'all."
She flashes you a thumbs up and kind of nods, and manages to take off, chasing after her younger brother. As you guys are getting your things together and loading up your packs and ponies and things, Kind of a familiar scene how it plays. First, you get an overwhelmingly delicious aroma of baked pies just wafting through the air. And then screaming begins. And on the outskirts of the city is where it's coming from, and it is alerted the guards immediately, and they snap to. These elven guards in their full plate armor almost flow like water out of and over the top of this building of the royal hall you guys were in, and they all surge in the direction of the screams. And you guys are kind of left in this kind of in the dust of this aftermath of these beating feet and a bunch of elves just kind of like barely breaking formation, kind of crashing around you guys like, as if they were water. As you guys are kind of in the middle of the road, these elves just beat feet to far to like the I guess we'll call it the west. As the western side of the city seems to be undergoing something, and you guys are not sure what, but black smoke arises from that area, and you hear the sounds of battle not too far off.
Well, do we want to help the town since it's not full of self-righteous assholes?
Well, I think Gladiator just gave his whole spiel earlier about protecting the innocents and doing what's right, but also being selfish. So I'm still confused on what he wants to do what's right or be selfish. But fuck it. I mean, we need to find out what's going on with these things, anyways, at some point.
I mean, I'm definitely on board with helping out these people.
Maybe we can show them what these motor races can do.
Blade makes a very good point there.
Logus already has his bow out. Oh, it's been a while since we've had a good tussle, eh, Locris?
I'm ready to kill something. Renwick?
Oh, always.
And Glader's gonna pull out his new-ish long sword. Let's get to slaying then.
And we charge towards the commotion.
As you guys kind of collect yourselves to charge towards the commotion, the first step in that direction, and an unfamiliar war horn is blown in the distance, the opposite side of the city that all the elves have just ran to. As you guys kind of look around, you see that what has blown this war horn and flooding into the city, pillaging, killing, and capturing slaves is a veritable horde of bugbears. They flood the city from every angle. You have no idea how they got to the city or in the city so quickly, but these bugbears are ramming through the streets. They are breaking windows. They are kicking open doors. They are large kind of beings in general, but they look to be equipped with slaver gear. They have chains, they have manacles, they have like mesh chain nets, and all of them run into the city all around you. And so that is kind of where we are at this point. I think we're probably going to have to put a pin in it here.
So just a quick glance, how many bugbears are we talking?
I'll drop a map in the feed for you. You can check it out. Oops, it's a little sideways, but essentially, in the area of town that you are in currently, you're looking at about 15 bugbears coming into this little section, this little neighborhood that you're in. And that appears to be one crew of bugbears of many crews of bugbears that are kind of running and rampaging into this current city. They're huge, they're brutal, they are cutting people down, snatching up victims, kicking in doors, throwing people in these large metal sacks, acting as nets at people. and you kind of find yourself basically the only line of defense. Weirdly enough, the Legion of Elves just emptied and traveled to the opposite side of the city for some sort of commotion, and here you are, probably the only armed citizens in the rich district. And you're just watching these elves get slaughtered and basically carried off, kidnapped. And that is probably where we're going to have to pick up next session with some initiative. But I took a quick sneak peek of the map I intend to use and shot you guys a little bit in the feed, so I'll get the angle down a little better for our actual game.
Shit. Can I like preemptively cast Aura Vitality as we're seeing these guys jump
If you
into the
if you make
city?
a note to remind me, I'll allow it.
Okay. Oh man, we're about to fucking get into it next week. Shit.
There's so many of them.
I think the
That's a lot
town's
of
good.
bugbears.
Honestly, we
You
should
guys have
just
some crowd control prepared.
head to the academy like originally planned. I mean, we don't know nothing of this town.
This was the one fucking good noble we ever ran into.
And he should be better prepared for stuff like this. I mean,
We need allies.
all right, fellas. Dakota, I hope your girl feels better, man. Mine's over here
Yeah,
starting
for
to get
real.
sick. So hopefully it doesn't get as bad, but
No, I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna keep an eye out on her tonight, and luckily she was already going to the doctor tomorrow, so hopefully they can figure out what's up. But good session, boys. I'm excited to get mauled. At least this time it's not frogs.
Just a
Gotta
fuck
change
ton
it
of
up a little.
levels.
Bugbears.
Yeah, we've upgraded from a horde of frogs
Not
attacking
bugbears,
us
not
to a
levels.
horde of Sasquatches.
I gotta test those the limits of those levels you guys just got before I give you too many and fuck myself.
Well, something about 15 bugbears says you're probably going to test those
Yeah, it'll
pretty
work out.
thoroughly.
It'll work out in my favor probably. I'll probably kill one of you.
Well, good
Well,
thing we
I've
had a
got
bunch of
like-
diamonds. As long as it's not Gladeer, then hopefully we can bring them
Yeah.
back.
We all know it is.
got-
It is Gladier.
It's going to be Gladeer, yeah.
I'm gonna grab those diamonds and full disengage.
run back to his lord.
All right, fellas. Keep in touch, man. Let's do this again soon. I'm gonna take off. I got a few things I got to knock out still. So keep in touch, guys, and we'll do this again sometime soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Good
All right,
trade.
guys.
Later, guys.